but important topic on the next Rush to Reason, Monday at 2 p.m.
Wow, the election season is finally complete. No more door knocking, phone banking, or endless interruptions of your favorite shows with those crazy political ads. Enjoy the silence, rest a couple of days. You deserve it. An astounding number of non-political folks responded to the fire in their bellies, telling them their only hope of saving their country, their state, and their very own family's security jumped in full force. And some are now asking, now what? I'll tell you what. Rest one more day and then hop to it again. Never stop, never let up. Keep the pressure on your elected officials. Join me, Molly Vogt, and my fellow Americhick, Kim Munson, this Sunday as we speak to several local grassroots groups you may want to join to stay involved. I'm sure there's a perfect one for you. The fight for liberty requires a constant force. Together we can do this. Tune in Sunday from 4 to 6.
Heart of the Matter with Kim and Molly, the Americhicks. Sunday afternoons at 4 on KLZ 560.
KLZ AM 560, KLZ HD Denver. Listen live at KLZ560radio.com. KLZ 560, a proper broadcasting God and country station.
It's a very fancy automobile. Oh, she's a railroad king, all right. 67.5. You do a quarter mile, 13.4. 390 horsepower. 500 foot-pounds. Whatever that is. Performance news, that's what it's all about.
There's no such thing as a stupid question. This is Drive Radio. All of your automotive questions are just one phone call away. 303-477-5600. Drive Radio was made possible by the member shops of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. To find one near you, go to drive-radio.com. Now, Drive Radio on KLZ 560.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Drive Radio. I'm your host today, John Rush, and we've got a lot in store for you today. Studio full of folks going from my left and around the room. So if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you. We're still working on our sound, waiting for a software update. But Isaac Bouchard from Preferred Auto Brokers is to my left, our resident auto broker, which, by the way, if you've got any needs at all, Isaac's the guy to call. We'll talk about some of that stuff even today. Kurt Anderson from Anderson's.
Hey, John.
Welcome, Kurt. He's our resident Euro guy. So if you've got something European you're driving, he's the guy to call. And we refer a lot of stuff to Kurt even during the week. So if you've got anything along those lines, by all means, give us a call. And Kurt's the guy to talk to on that end of things. And then also we've got John Glossick from Chino's. Thanks, John.
Thanks for having me on, John. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you being here. So I think the camera can pick you up a wave just in case. There we go. All right.
Trade places with you.
Yeah, we're fine. So we're going to get right into it. We've got a lot in store today, as I said earlier. Don't forget, Sportsmen of Colorado follows up Drive Radio on Saturdays, and Gino DeChico on his show, The Wealth Map, is on Sundays, and that won't matter because the Sunday folks don't hear this first hour anyway, so I'll talk about that as we get into the second, third hour. But lots of good things going on today. Next week, I'm going to have Paul Leuenberger, our insurance guy, with us. So today we're going to talk about buying a car, selling a car, going through some of that. Next week, we'll talk about insuring that car. Kind of goes hand in hand, right, guys? If you buy a car, you better hope so. You better hope to insure it and make sure you get the right kind of coverage. They insure it. That's true too. Yeah, I'm going through one of those right now. So, guys, with that, we're gonna go right to the phones. We have lines open 303-477-5600, and one line is full right now. There's a couple lines open. Calls to get you right on. One thing I was going to mention is the weather is going to change this week. My morning update was. Let's see, gonna get colder on Monday. In fact, really cold Monday night. Chance for some snow up to an inch overnight. My point is, make sure that you're ready. And as we talked last week, make sure your tires are ready. So call Quick Tread if they're not. Ken and Mike, 720-588-9055, and they'll take care of you on whatever you need there. John, you've been waiting for a while. You even called us before we started the show. What's going on this morning?
Thank you, John. I had a couple of questions. I have a 2007 Durango, which my daughter and I just bought. It was a 4.7, and it's a flex fuel.
Okay.
And I'm wondering what the mileage would be reduction by using flex fuel, and do I risk anything by using it?
30%. Yeah, 20 to 30%. So Isaac's right, and if it's a true flex fuel vehicle, there's no risk in running E85 in it.
Okay, fine business. So right now,
And you just so you know, you need to be about $1 a gallon difference in price to make it work.
About that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done the math numerous times. You need to be about $1 difference in price, or it's not worth buying it.
right, I noticed that's not happening right now.
No, it is not.
No.
So it's not worth running it right now.
The only reason they did that, John, is because certain lobbyists got Congress to pass legislation to get credits towards their fuel economy for the manufacturers if they said they were flex fuel, but no one's ever used it. So it was basically a stop to the ethanol and the corn.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Okay, my second question is I have several cars that get very low mileage.
Okay.
And I've been changing them at 6 months no matter what. Can I extend those or should I still change it at that time for changing the oil?
What are you driving specifically? Let's get there first.
Okay, I have a 1999 Mustang with about 60,000 miles on it.
Okay.
I have a Highlander Toyota, about the same mileage.
Okay.
I have a Ford Explorer with about 160,000 miles. I have that Durango, which is at 107,000 miles. And then I do have a diesel truck that tows all the time.
Okay.
And it's got about 60,000 miles.
So let's talk all the gas engines first. And if they're 99, 2000 or newer, really across the board, as long as you're running full synthetic, high quality oil filter, yes, you could do the 6 month oil changes with no problems on all those cars.
Okay, but I can't extend it beyond that.
I probably wouldn't. How new is the Highlander?
It's 2008.
I'd still go 6 months on those and just do like 6 and 6 would be, and really you're going to want to do a biannual oil change on those anyways. You're not driving a lot of miles. Now the diesel truck, what are you driving on that?
Well, what do you mean, how many miles?
Yeah, no, what is it? Sorry.
It's F250,
Okay. What year?
2005.
Okay, so that's a 6 liter.
Yeah.
You can run those. I probably wouldn't go any more than 7,000, 8,000 miles on that. You know, I've seen guys pushing further than that, but I'd run 7,000, 8,000 miles and call it good.
Okay, now what I'm not doing is I'm not getting a miles on it, so I've been changing it every 6 no matter what. I'm assuming I still stay 6 with the diesel.
You wouldn't have to on the diesel. Is it parked outside mostly, or do you have the ability to park it inside so it's an outside storage?
It's outside storage.
Yeah, 6 months is okay. You're not hurting anything by doing that. You probably don't have to because you're not acquiring the miles that you need to. But you're not hurting anything to do it other than it's expensive on that diesel to change it every 6 months.
Right, and I mean, what could I go to?
You can run full synthetic in that 6 liter diesel and you'd be fine, and you could stretch it out some. I don't know that you'd still need to change it annually. Depending upon this. So what are you doing in a year on it as far as miles?
Maybe, I don't know right now, but not much, maybe 8,000.
I'd probably change it once a year and call it good. John's shaking his head yes. Kurt's shaking his head yes. So I think we're all in agreement on that one. You go annually on it.
Okay, but I have been running the full synthetic.
I would run full synthetic in it.
Diesel oil.
Rotella.
And I would run full synthetic in it just because it's a 6 liter anyways. So
Okay. Thank you for your help, John.
You're very welcome, John. Thanks for calling in. So it just shows you can call in really early. You can be first up, have several questions, get them all out of the way, and now John's ready for the rest of the day on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. So yes, call us. We'd love to talk to you. 303-477-5600. It doesn't have to do with anything in particular, even though we get on topics sometimes. If you've got something you want to chat about, don't let a particular topic that we're on, scare you off from calling in. We can really talk about anything you want to talk about, folks. It really, I keep saying it, and I will continue to say it. There's no dumb question. If you don't know what the answer is, chances are somebody else doesn't know the answer to the same question. You're not the only person with that question, is my point. Even the stuff that John just asked, by the way, those are regular generic type questions that we answer quite often. And yeah, we can get a little bit more specific when it comes to oil, but you don't have to worry about waiting to call in for that stuff.
John also asked about fuel economy, didn't he?
Yes, on the E85.
Okay. Yeah. As they keep upping the ethanol content in our fuel, everybody's fuel economy is going to go down because there's less energy density in ethanol. And so the more they put in with our gasoline, the worse fuel economy all our cars get.
Right.
The other thing that I always like to touch on is cars. I'm not talking about diesel trucks, but cars are designed to run on one of 2 types of fuel, either premium fuel or regular unleaded. They are not ever designed for mid-grade. Mid-grade is a total boondoggle. Now, what throws people off in Colorado is because of our altitude, our fuels have 2 points less octane in them than they would at sea level.
Correct.
So people read their owner's manual and they say, oh my gosh, I need 87 as an octane rating. They don't in Colorado. They need 85.
Right.
So they go to the pump and they grab the 87 and they pay those wonderful companies like ExxonMobil an extra 10 or 20 cents a gallon for something they don't need.
I actually had that question the other day. Same thing. And I said, I had the same exact answer, when they were asking about, premium fuels as well in a turbocharged vehicle.
Some need it. Turbo, some don't. Most of the newest ones, they're
compression.
calibrated unless they're a premium car, like a BMW or something. They're designed to run on
Pump gas.
gas.
Yeah. Now, what I will tell you guys after listening, and we've had actually Dorsey Johnson, who's the owner of Arvada West, who was in the fuel business for a number of years, owned several stations, etc. He's done several tests. In fact, his little Chrysler minivan, he has determined in it that he can actually run premium grade fuel, get better mileage, thereby offsetting what the difference in price is, and he's getting the better fuel at the time. All the I want to say that van's probably 2008, 2009, something like
Okay,
that.
so my wife, when I met her, had a 2001 Maxima, and it was exactly the same thing. But the newest cars have much more sophisticated control computers. But anything probably 5 years or older, you really
on that test. What I was just going to say, and Isaac just finished it up, is you know what? All of this is test it yourself. A lot of it has to do with you, how you drive your particular vehicle, where you're driving. Do you store your vehicle indoors, outdoors? Do you have cold start in the mornings that you got to go through the warm up process, etc.? All that will have an effect on your fuel economy. And try that. Now, one thing we keep saying on Drive Radio, and I'll say this forever: make sure you're using top tier fuels.
Okay, so one of my clients asked me that in an email literally last night. So I thought we should bring that up as a topic.
So perfect. It is a big deal. Top tier, by the way, in Colorado. It's only a few stations. I shouldn't say few stations. Let me rephrase that. There's only a few oil companies in Colorado that are top tier approved. Those are Conoco, Shell, Phillips 66, and then Costco got added roughly about a year ago. So there's 4 places that you can actually go to and look for top tier rating. And yes, they pass a higher standard is the way to say that. There's a higher standard for top tier that they have to pass with the fuel that makes it a better grade of gasoline than you're going to get at a non-top tier station. So when you guys see the, right down here past the station, I see this almost every day as I drive down to the station. 6 days a week I drive down here. There's a little King Supers right down here at the corner. Parker Road, 225. And the fuel at the King Supers is always 10 cents a gallon less than anything else around here. It's under $3 a gallon right now. Have I ever stopped to put gas in there? Absolutely not. Even though I drive press cars, and Isaac, I probably could, just something inside of me says I'm just not going to buy that cheap gas because that's what it is, and it does not have the additives and the things in it that the top tier fuels have. Now, in an emergency situation, are you going to damage anything by using that fuel? Absolutely not, but you're not getting the best bang for your buck when you stop and pick up fuel at those types of places, and I could name them off. I'm not going to today, but you know what I'm talking about. That's out there, and the stations that we're talking about and referring to. Robin for Collins, what's going on today?
Yeah, I got a 2003 Subaru Forester.
Okay.
My girlfriend was driving. It's her car. She got real low. She didn't run out of gas, but almost.
Okay.
She stopped, put $10, $15 in, went on her way to work, and got in the car later, and the check engine light came on. And I was curious if that would be the cause of that.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
I would probably say, if she ran it low, was the engine detonating? Was it, or didn't even get to that point? There's some variables there to answer your question. But that's a very thin line there with the check engine light being related to the fuel system, unless it was the evaporative emissions picked up something like a gas or.
Did it run clear out of gas, or did it just run low?
It ran real low. It was right on the E line.
I would say they're unreal. I'm kind of with these guys. It's possible, but doubtful.
Yeah. So
like a 1 in 10 chance.
yeah. So go get it checked, and depending on what faults show up in memory, you may be able to relate it to running low on fuel, maybe not.
If it had some lean codes, things like that, potentially, but
codes, misfire codes.
typically speaking, unless she noticed something running poorly and knew she was getting down, if it just ran down to E, because even typically on E, and you want to drive enough of these new cars to know this, when they get down to E, there's still 2 or 3 gallons left at that point, enough to run. When it says E, there's typically I don't know how they do this. Isaac, you may know more about this than I do, but typically they give you enough reserve where you've got 30, 40 miles of drive left, even when you're clear down to E.
Yeah, 2 gallons starter car.
Exactly.
It's a new car for her, and she just got it, and she had it, checked out thoroughly.
I would venture to guess there's something else going on there now that we kind of hear more of the story. And to Kurt's point, I would get that diagnosed and find out what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right. Appreciate it very much, Rob. Thank you. You guys want to add anything to that?
We had an odd situation. There's another automotive journalist who used to live here, moved out of state, came back to visit, named Andy, and he got a car from one of the manufacturers. I had another car from one of the manufacturers. They were both really fast cars. Each had over 500 horsepower, so we decided to drive up in the mountains. We both filled up at a particular gas station, and before we even got to Idaho Springs, his car had gone into limp mode, basically where the computer was saying there's something wrong with the engine, reduced its power. So we parked that car in Idaho Springs, took the other car, went up towards Winter Park, and that car started acting funny. And our best guess is we used the same gas in the same gas station.
Yeah. So it happens, guys. So be choosy where you buy fuel. We're going to come right back. Don't go away. We've got all lines full. As soon as somebody drops off calls, we'll get you right on air, 303-477-5600. And yeah, if you've got a question specifically for Isaac today, he's our resident auto broker. If you've got something you want to talk about, I got an email late last night on a question that I said, basically, just call us today. It's a great question to have on air. That person, I hope, does. If not, we'll email him separately. But hey, call us. We'd love to have you on air with us, 303-477-5600. Let's go to a break. We'll come right back. John Rush, host, KLZ 560.
We've all been there. You're under the hood and suddenly realize you don't have the parts you need. Or even worse, you don't know what parts you need. Well, at Napa Auto Parts, we have ASE certified parts specialists that'll make sure you find that right part. One covered by a warranty good at any one of 6,000 Napa locations. Yeah, finding the right part might not be easy, but fortunately, finding the right part store is. Go to Napa on.
Yeah, because it's supposed to be bad, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's supposed to be 22 on Tuesday.
Auto repair solution in northern Colorado at Fort Collins 4x4 Center. They service and maintain more than just 4x4s. From diesel pickups to economy cars, their team of service specialists and technicians have the computer diagnostics, tools, and expertise to service and repair any make or model. They combine their skills with integrity, giving you the best service in the industry. From preventative maintenance to major repairs, you can trust your vehicle to Fort Collins 4x4, located just a few blocks north of Old Town on College Avenue in Hemlock. They're open Monday through Friday, 7:30 until 5:30, with convenient shuttle service and after-hours drop. If you're ready to form a solid relationship with an auto repair shop, the new owners at Fort Collins 4x4 are committed to providing the professional and personal service you're looking for. Give them a call at 970-482-5500. 970-482-5500. Check them out on the web at FortCollins4x4.com or follow them on Facebook at FortCollins4x4.com.
Do you love things that require gas or diesel fuel to run? Do you need a job? Or are you just looking for a change? Napa Auto Parts is looking for delivery drivers and salespeople in all locations in the Denver metro area. If you have experience in the industry, that helps, but it is not mandatory. Please go to NapaAutoJobs.com. Again, that's NapaAutoJobs.com and fill out the application. Please mention Drive Radio on that application. Napa Auto Parts, an equal opportunity employer.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants from their vehicle. Regardless of make or model, you want your vehicle to take you where you need to go. Reliability is exactly what the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers offer. They've set the standard for excellence in automotive repair and maintenance. Each member offers Napa Auto Care Peace of Mind Warranty, along with the highest level of customer service and integrity. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you, log on to drive-radio.com or call 303-546-NAPA.
All right, we are back. Thanks for tuning in. John Rush, your host, KLZ 560. Lines are full. As soon as somebody drops off, give us a call. We'll get you right on air. And yeah, John was just commenting through the break. And in fact, John, tell that story because I think that fits very well with the way we ended that last segment.
Yeah, this is a perfect example. I personally did some performance modifications on a 2000 Saab 9.5 I drive every day. Love that little car, and put a large turbocharger on it, programming, make it run a lot more stronger. I went there with fuel even. And when I pulled out of the parking lot, I accelerated kind of hard, as I like to do.
So that's why you drive the car?
Yes. And it had some detonation, spark knock. And I actually had to, I found that Lucas makes a fuel system additive that's more, it's not really an octane booster, but it's more of like
some knock and stuff.
Yeah, and it actually cured that. And, I like Shell Premium, so that's all I run in it now. But even with the Shell Premium, I use some of that Lucas every now and then. I love that stuff. I've messed around with a lot of octane boosters or fuel additives, and Lucas seems to be the more bang for the buck that I've found.
Interesting. That's good to know. Yeah. Well, they've done a great job with their products, so I'm not gonna argue with that. Let's go to Randy in Castle Rock, who's got a question. Randy, welcome.
Hey, hello guys. How you doing?
Doing good, Randy.
I heard you talking about gas, so I had to get in on this because I'm lived in Florida and Michigan, and I never even heard of 85 till I came out here. And I was always under the assumption, correct me if I'm wrong, that you can put the 85 in there, but it's going to retard the engine, and in doing so, doing it so you don't hear the knocks and pangs, but in doing so, you're not going to get your performance. Plus, you're going to spend more money on gas.
That's somewhat true in the older vehicles. As we've gotten into the newer vehicles, direct injection, etc., that's not as, let me see if I can explain this better. That's not as big of a deal as it used to be as far as timing, advance, and all those things are concerned, because they're controlling the fuel so much better now, and they can do it even with what I would consider to be a lesser quality fuel. Although I think our fuel quality actually today is better than it was even 10 years ago. There's probably folks out there that would argue with me on that, but I think it is. I think we've seen that become, there was enough complaints with that for so many years. They were trying to do some things emissions wise, etc. I think they've got the fuel blends, better now than they used to be. What happens with the higher grade fuels is the additives. And would at least have better, add packs in the fuel, etc. Doesn't necessarily mean though that you will necessarily right off the bat get better performance depending upon the vehicle that you're driving.
Depends on what fuel grade it's optimized for.
Right.
If it is a premium, if it is a
BMW, for example.
Yeah, optimized to run premium fuel, running a, say, regular grade. So going from 90, here we have 91.
Right.
91 to 85, there may be a reduction in performance.
Correct.
The timing may be cut back. You may run different fuel curves, fuel maps.
But if you've got, say like in your case, you're running a, just a regular run-of-the-mill vehicle. It's made to run the lowest octane fuel. Putting high octane fuel in it may or may not make any performance difference.
Yeah, it's not like taking.
It does say 87 minimum. I mean, I'm not going to go to 85.
No, that means 85 at our elevation. That's what Isaac was talking about in the first segment. Right. So everything at our elevation is 2 notches below what your owner's manual calls for.
Yeah, because it doesn't say 85 in Colorado, and we're not still doing horse and buggies here. They know that. But
No, you're misunderstanding.
Right.
No, you're misunderstanding. We are being very clear on this. If it says 87, run 85.
Right.
No ifs, ands, or buts.
Because that's the way. Because that's why we don't have 93 octane in Colorado.
Yeah, like Amco and out east.
Right. They'll have 87, 91, and 93 when you get to lower elevation. We don't have that here. We have 85, 87, 91.
And this is because the air is thinner here.
We just don't have as much.
Right. The combustion chamber is an air to fuel ratio, and because of the thinner air, you don't need as much octane in your fuel.
So the 87 here is like me putting 89 and I use the mid-range.
What we're also saying is do not use mid-range.
You don't. It's a waste of money. Yeah.
It's designed to take money out of your pocket. That's all it's designed for.
All right. And can I get a dumb question in?
Sure. There's no dumb questions, Randy.
Yeah, but it's probably dumb, but I want the answer anyway. You know how you're supposed to put your fuel additives in, and then you put the gas in, and it mixes it up good.
Mm-hmm.
I just filled my tank up. I wanted to put some of that Chevron, maybe that Lucas you were talking about in there, and the gas tank's right about full.
Doesn't matter. It'll mix in.
Yeah, Randy.
Just jump up and down on the bumper, shake.
You drive a little bit, it won't matter. It dilutes in there very, very quickly.
I'm gonna get a big clump of concentrated.
No,
You know, ooh,
won't happen. To tell you to have a full tank when you put the additives in. It's actually the backwards of what most people think. You should put the additive in after the tank is full, not before.
Yeah, it's not like oil and water, so
Right.
it dilutes
Very quickly.
Yeah.
and one more dumb one that somebody probably won't call in and ask you. My gas cap is very, very picky, and 80% of the time it wants to go straight down all the way in where I can click it. But I guess the question is, as long as I can click it, it's got to be on there right. I mean, it won't click if it's crooked.
That's
so
right.
It's got to be right.
I mean, as far as the threading on and screwing the cap on itself.
Yeah, the one like my Jeep will just screw on and it click, click, click. Well, that caliper, you do 70-80% of the time it's going to go straight all the way down, and you can click it. Or if you want to fool with it back or forth, it'll sink down. But it always seems to want to go straight
As
down.
long as it's on there tight and there's a click or so out of it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so if it clicks, it has to be on
Yep.
there straight.
That's right.
correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
But that's a
All
good
right, thank you
question.
very much.
That's a great question as well, though, because when you go get emissions tests, they do check leakage, evaporative leakage from the
cap
fuel
itself.
filler and the cap.
That's
And
right.
oftentimes, all you'll need to do is get a new cap. So I'm tending to think what the seal over time becomes more porous or
Internally,
brittle or
the
something.
cap internally, the venting system in the cap or the sealing system in the cap itself goes bad after a while. It really doesn't. That's not the seal in regards to how it screws down. It's internal inside the cap itself is what goes bad.
It's incredible. I mean,
the whole vacuum is what they have to do.
absolutely. And it's incredible. I usually keep stats per month. I probably get 3 to 4 vehicles that come in with check engine lights just because the outer seal on the gas cap has a crack in it that's visual and you can see it.
That's right.
It's incredible.
That's right. Yep, great point. All right, guys, let's go to Mike. You've been holding a while. Mike, welcome. What's going on today?
Hey, I was listening when you talked to your first customer about ethanol.
Yes.
One of the good things you forgot to mention, there is the price break thing, so I understand that when you run E85. But about a month ago, I called in when Dorsey was there with you, and my question was, if I was running the E85, do I have to worry about additives? And this kind of rolls into everything you've been talking about today. But why don't you see, one of the things that came up when we visited last time was E85. One of the benefits of that whole thing, if you're going to keep your vehicle for a long time, that your valves run a little bit cleaner, your rings stay a little bit cleaner.
They do. It's a cleaner fuel. Because it's alcohol. So yes, it's a cleaner fuel. You're right about that. The biggest issue though is for most people, Mike, and you're right. What you're saying is correct. But the biggest people, I think, most people find is it's a cost per mile that they're trying to look at. And by the way, everybody listening, I want to make sure I stress this because I don't think we hit this hard enough during the first segment. This only applies to those of you that are driving flex fuel. You're going to do some damage if you run E85 in a non-flex fuel vehicle. So, yeah, Mike, I appreciate you reminding us of that because that's very important.
Yep. And then to my other question, but before I get to my next question is, I've listened to you for many, many years, and I'll be the first guy if you decide to run for Senate or something like that. I'll donate $100 to your campaign.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, Mike. Thank you very much.
So, all right. Now, TSCs, I finally broke down. I'm the guy, years ago, you guys talked me out of, I got my old Lincoln Town car.
Okay.
Got 265,000.
Mike, you there?
Uh-oh.
Yep, there we go. We got you back. Yeah, go ahead. We lost you at Lincoln and
265,000 miles.
Right.
Yeah, the old car had 265,000 miles on it. So I finally broke down and bought a 2012 Fusion.
Okay.
And I'd like to know, how do I go, if there's a website to go look at technical service bulletins to see what I might deal with the car?
To the public, I'm not sure.
Yeah, guys, you know what?
Yeah.
I think there is.
I wonder if that's available through a public website, maybe. Because Identifix is a website that we subscribe to for aiding repairs.
You can actually find them, and I thought this was true. They actually are on the NHTSA's website. So you can go to nhtsa.gov and it'll actually show technical service bulletins on the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration's website. Can too. I think you can just go right to Ford's website and pull them up.
Put in your VIN.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll give that a shot. Okay.
Yeah, so I think, here's what you need to do. Actually, and I just did this, by the way, if you just go Google TSB for vehicles, you'll get half a dozen sites that you can just go pop into and then put a search in for your vehicle and find them. The other thing you can always do, Mike, is call one of our Colorado Select facilities, have them pull up your VIN number of that vehicle, and they can check it for you right over the phone also. So if you run into problems or you think something's not quite right, you've heard there's a TSB, but yours isn't showing up, call one of the shops. They can run it through the database and find out for sure.
Sure.
Yep, 10-4, I appreciate that. And I always love it when you guys have guests that talk about products on the cars, whether it's the manufacturers that come in with tires or spark plugs or the things that we have to change.
Appreciate that.
I finally broke down and bought my first K&N air filter also, and it really did. I keep track of my gas mileage, and I got easy extra mile per gallon around town and 1.5 to 2 on the highway.
Awesome. That's great. That's what we want to hear. Appreciate that feedback, Mike.
All right, I'll let you guys go.
Hey, thank you so much. Great questions and comments. One line open is all 303-477-5600. We're going to go to break. We've got one line open. Call us. We'll get it filled right in. Isaac Bouchard from Preferred Auto Brokers is with us, along with Kurt Anderson from Anderson's and John Glossick from Geno's. And we'll be back right after this. I'm your host, John Rush, KLZ 560. Having transmission problems? Stop by Larry's Automotive today. We're your only Colorado Select Auto Care in North Denver that also specializes in automatic and manual transmissions. We're a family-owned small business taking care.
I will make a mark of that. No problem.
36,000-mile warranty.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, before it gets cold. Yeah, I know. My wife was she was she's like, I'm going to work she's like, I'm going to work all of it. She's been working from home. She's got to stop by the office. She's like, she's not driving in Monday night. She'll be done by 10 o'clock in the morning. She's like, I'm not even messing with it. As soon as it snows, I'm not driving.
For repairs and fuel.
I don't blame her either. I'm the one that's got to drive.
On all four wheels of your vehicle, be aware that irregular tire wear could also cause the need for additional alignment parts. Stop in or call us for our alignment special. Mention this to Adam, we'll inspect your vehicle and check your alignment starting at $69.95. Call Arvada West Auto at 303-422-1065. Stop by 11752 West 64th Avenue or visit us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com.
Drive Radio is a presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. The independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select hold each other accountable for the highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that choosing a mechanic is risky business, so Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers heard on Drive Radio, and you'll immediately see the difference. For the complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com.
At Napa, we're always trying to make the great parts we sell even better. From the bacteria-killing surface on our cabin air filters to our revolutionary new Adaptive One brakes. And every Napa part is covered by a warranty good at any of our 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores. Yeah, maybe you don't get this at your average auto parts store, but we've spent the last 80 years making sure we were anything but average. Go to NapaOnline.com for a location nearest you. Napa, get the good stuff.
And we're back on Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560, and we've got lines full. As soon as somebody calls or somebody drops off the call us. We'll get you right on air, 303-477-5600. Buck up in Cheyenne, you are up next. And what's the weather like in Cheyenne? Is it still nice and sunny up there?
Yes, it's good, and we're supposed to be all right through tomorrow, but Tuesday, Veterans Day, it sounds like a bummer.
Yes, it does. Yeah. Yep. That's all right. We need it. I'm not complaining. It's wintertime. We need a little snow.
Yes. I got a couple questions for you. One of them is I have an 09 F-250 with a 5.4 in it.
Okay.
And I bought a K&N air intake. Loved the power.
Perfect.
But the noise drove me crazy.
They're louder.
Yeah.
I mean, this one was loud. We had to put in earplugs.
Really? That's pretty loud.
I wondered if you had any ideas how to quiet it down.
You know, I
have
don't.
to take it off and drive the vehicle.
I don't. But what I would do, Buck, is call. You know, K&N's got a 1-800 number. Call those guys in the technical department. By the way, they listen to our show quite frequently, so some of those guys are probably listening as we speak. So call them, ask them if they've come up with any kind of shields or anything along those lines that maybe they've got that you could retrofit onto that or make that work, because they have a 100% satisfaction guarantee. So if you don't like something's not working right,
A drop-in filter, was that a kit?
Cold air intake.
No, that was the cold air.
Yeah.
Cold air.
I did call them, but they had no ideas. That's why I thought I would call you.
Interesting.
I'm not sending it back. I'm hoping to eventually come up with some way to be able to use it.
I tell you what I will do for you, Buck. I will email K&N on Monday, and I'm making notes to myself right now. I will email them and ask about what's going on and see if they've got any, because I've got some inside guys I can talk to.
Hey, Buck, I have an idea that you could maybe toss around. My friends in the Colorado Jeep Club, for all their cold air intakes, the ones that have the open air filter on the end or in the air filter box, they have a sponge. It's like a sponge shield.
Pre-filter, they call it.
A pre-filter that you can slide over the filter, and you can actually reduce some of the noise from that. It may not cure it 100%.
It's a good idea.
I know they don't cost a lot, and it might be worth a try.
Now, K&N sells those. It's just called a Buck. John, I'm glad you reminded me of those because I forgot about that. It's called a pre-filter. They use them in a lot of the dirtier, dustier areas, and it's a pre-filter for off-road vehicles, and it does cut down on some of the noise, to John's point. So yeah, I would try that. The other thing too is make sure that it's a new enough vehicle. This probably isn't an issue for you, Buck, but make sure there's no holes in the firewall or anything where you've got noise or anything seeping through, where a cable has maybe been put through, things along those lines. Make sure you've got no holes in the firewall also.
No, I've checked all of that. In fact, I bought some of these pads from Napa that dampen vibrate.
Got it. The other thing on that too that I would ask is Ford in their later years, and I love Ford. I own several Ford trucks, but I know when it got to be about 04 and 05 model years, they quit putting hood insulation under the hoods.
Yes, I know that.
Do you have any hood insulation under yours?
No, I do not.
They make a kit.
They don't make one.
They do. You can buy a hood insulation kit from Ford. Now you're going to have to go back a few model years, but the hoods haven't changed. So you can go back a couple model years and buy a hood insulation kit for that, Buck.
Okay, yeah. I had a cold air kit on an 01. Just loved it.
Yeah. And I'd forgotten they took again, saving money, etc. They, dissipating heat, what have you, but they took the insulation kits out of those trucks, and they are noisier also when they did that.
Okay. I have one more question.
Sure, go right ahead, Buck.
I put an edge chip in it, or a program.
Got it. Yep.
And was headed at the low tow. Went to Nebraska and came back. And when I got back here, and I had the K&N on it also at that time, came back, got a check engine light. I had the oxygen sensor in the converter in bank 2, number 2, bank 2.
Got it.
Was bad. So I pulled it out. It had literally melted.
Wow.
Do you think I wiped out the converter?
I don't know. It's possible. And here's a rule of thumb that most people don't understand. In fact, some of the guys out there selling products don't realize this. K&N does not build their cold air intakes to go with power programmers. A lot of guys will still do it. They'll do a cold air intake, a power programmer, some exhaust, etc. But K&N does not build. They're meant to be used, which is the stock computer configuration that's already inside the truck.
I wiped out another one in there just using the edge.
Yeah, I would
Without-
probably
without
take the
the whole thing.
programmer out and see what happens with it that way.
Yeah,
I have.
The program sounds kind of jinky.
Yeah, but guys don't really understand that they're really not meant, and that's something that they could help you with on the technical side of the fence. Again, if they can't, I'll get somebody to you that can, Buck. But they are not meant to be used in conjunction with one another, despite what everybody in the automotive world thinks.
Yeah, Buck, I have seen folks that have traveled to Nebraska, the lower elevations, in vehicles that have primarily lived in Colorado, and they self-adjust to the altitude. That's what they do. And they've driven to, states of lower elevation like Nebraska, Oklahoma, and on the way back, they get a check engine light code, and just like you, it's for an oxygen sensor, but their oxygen sensor wasn't melted. Usually we just clear the code and it never comes back. But your case seems kind of weird, and I would probably, like John said, relate that to your programmer.
Yeah.
Well, I took the programmer out, and I have one of these auto Ingenities.
Got it.
bought.
Yep.
And,
Good tool, by the way.
I put it on last night. I'm just getting used to it. And after I put the new oxygen sensor on, everything seems to be hunky-dory. But
Yeah, I think you may be okay on the Cat. You won't know for a little bit. You'll have to just see how that goes and see how things perform, et cetera. And you don't have emissions test up where you're at, so you won't know on that side of the fence. But you'll know how the vehicle performs as to whether the Cat's working right or not.
Yeah, and that's new enough that if there is an internal issue in the catalytic converter, you will get that catalyst efficiency code.
That's right.
okay, well, I'm just learning on the auto identity, so
You're fine. No, good call, by the way, Buck. Appreciate it.
okay, I appreciate you guys, and we appreciate all of the veterans too.
Yes,
don't
we
want to
do. Yes, we do. Yeah, Buck, I'm glad you said that. I was going to mention that through the show today. But yes, thank you, veterans. Veterans Day coming up on Tuesday. Thank you, Buck, for mentioning that. I appreciate that.
Okay. You have a good weekend.
You do the same. Thanks a lot, Buck. Appreciate it. One line open, 303-477-5600. Kenny, you're up next. What's going on today?
Yes, I've got a 99 Nissan Quest, not that matters. I've heard over the years, I've listened to automotive programs, they say when you're filling your tank, when the nozzle shuts off, stop.
You're done. That's correct.
Now, I've got a question. That's for when you're in town driving. Say I'm going out to Chicago.
Doesn't matter where you're at. You never fill above the first click.
Okay, now the problem that I got with that is I go to these stations that's got C10 pumps in it. I noticed one time in the middle, I filled up and it clicked off. I went to the next dollar, of course, but that really didn't fill up my tank. So I'm thinking the pressure out of the tank was set too low. I don't know. That's why years back I'd fill up until it started coming out. Until I learned about this now, of course.
Right.
And to find out exactly how much gas I've used, give me a better mile per gallon estimate on my cars. But you're still saying, even if I'm going on a trip, to go ahead and stop it.
Yep.
One clicks off.
Yep, one click. Because what happens is you can damage we call it the evaporative system, the recapture of the fumes, et cetera. You can damage that system by overfilling the tank.
And that's why I stopped that when I heard that.
Right.
Yeah, and you have an expansion area, so a little bit is not going to hurt, but
next dollar type thing, yeah.
Yeah, but if you're it clicks off and you're going a few more clicks and really trying to get a little fuel in there, yeah, even though you're going to be driving it, you're going to be driving it off, just still maybe have a chance of heating the fuel up enough to run into fuel evap issues. So yeah,
Rule of thumb, we've been saying this now for years. Rule of thumb is just stop at the first click and
Yeah.
you're fine.
Yeah.
Then I have a question about tire alignment.
Okay.
When you need to, that helps preserve the tires, of course.
Yes, it does.
But when you hit a pothole, it can throw out that alignment.
Yes, it can. That is correct.
Okay. So the reason why I stopped doing it was because there's a lot of potholes, especially here in Denver. And why do I want to keep spending that $50 each time or whatever the cost would be? Because the pothole knocked it out. And I thought, well, it's just the damage shortens the life of the tire. And I said, well, 5,000 on a 70,000 mile tire, big deal. But also with alignment, is that like a low tire that will want to pull one way?
You could.
Okay, because I'm having that with my car. on my left.
I would have it checked, and we talked about this last week with the price of tires and where they are today. Now they will fluctuate with the price of oil being down. That will also affect tires. Tires will have a drop in them for a time. As oil goes back up, tire prices will also go back up because there's a certain amount of oil in the tires. But I would, in your case where you've got a known pull, I would definitely get that vehicle looked at for the alignment.
Yeah, and another thing too, Kenny, is that if you're hitting potholes like that, I've had a lot of cars come into my shop where it actually damages the sidewall and it creates a bubble. Now, you may not see it on the outside, it could be on the inside. Now you're driving on an unsafe tire, which it's not balanced correctly.
Basically, you broke a belt when you did that.
Broke a belt, yeah, and it will cause a pull, it will cause a vibration.
Right.
And just to touch base, this kind of has a little bit to do with what we're talking about, but I've seen a lot of folks forego tire rotations, and it's funny, they'll come into their shop, their back tires are brand new, the front tires need replaced, and just
all because they didn't rotate.
A simple rotation.
That's right.
Like John was saying, the tires these days, some of these vehicles have been coming out with 19-inch rims, 20-inch rims. These tires are $350 a piece.
That's right. Or more, or $500 in some cases.
So $50 alignment, I'll do 6 alignments a year.
That's right. I have to. Yeah, that's exactly right. Good point. Does that answer your question, Kenny?
It didn't, and I learn a lot almost each time I listen to you guys at every program.
We appreciate that, Kenny. Thank you so much for listening. With that, we're going to take a quick break. Line open, 303-477-5600. Again, John Rush, Isaac Bouchard, Kurt Anderson, and John Glossick from Geno's. We'll be back right after this here on Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
At Extreme Auto, we're committed to providing the highest level of service possible to our customers. Our highly trained technicians are ASE certified and are dedicated to providing you with world-class service. We have years of experience working on both domestic and import vehicles of all makes and models, and will work with you to find cost-effective repair and maintenance alternatives. We don't have hidden fees, and we don't do unnecessary repairs. Serving Parker and the surrounding areas, come and see us, the professionals at Extreme Auto, and rest easy knowing you'll get quality work done for a fair price. Our promise to you: extreme service, extreme value, extreme satisfaction. Call us to schedule your appointment today.
Ever try to buy an air filter and get lost in catalogs and vehicle descriptions? Well, K&N, the inventor of reusable cotton filters, has got the answer to the mess. Just visit knfilters.com and enter your vehicle identification number off your dashboard or car registration, and K&N will show you the filter that fits your car. It's never been easier to buy a K&N, the filter that helps your car run better.
Need a one-stop auto repair solution in northern Colorado? At Fort Collins 4x4 Center, they service and maintain more than just 4x4s. From diesel pickups to economy cars, their team of service specialists and technicians have the computer diagnostics, tools, and expertise to service and repair any make or model. They combine their skills with integrity, giving you the best service in the industry. From preventative maintenance to major repairs, you can trust your vehicle to Fort Collins 4x4, located just a few blocks north of Old Town on College Avenue in Hemlock. They're open Monday through Friday, 7:30 until 5:30, with convenient shuttle service and after-hours drop. If you're ready to form a solid relationship with an auto repair shop, the new owners at Fort Collins 4x4 are committed to providing the professional and personal service you're looking for. Give them a call at 970-482-5500. 970-482-5500. Check them out on the web at FortCollins4x4.com or follow them on Facebook at FortCollins4x4.com.
Hunting down that hard-to-find part for an out-of-the-ordinary car can be quite a time-consuming chore. Unless, of course, you just go around the corner to your local Napa Auto Parts store, where we have over 310,000 parts, all of them made to fit and perform just like the original. Yeah, there are people who say it's the journey and not the destination, but those people have never tried to find an alternator for an 82 Fiat on a Saturday. Go to NapaOnline.com for the location nearest you. Napa, get the good stuff.
I'm going to teach you right now how to find a good, honest mechanic. Ask about the warranty. Their warranty will tell you everything you need to know because their warranty is their word. And Colorado Select Auto Care Centers all offer the best warranty in the state. 3 years, 36,000 miles on every repair. Always select a Colorado Select Auto Care Center at coloradoselect.org. 3 years, 36,000 miles. That's all you need to know.
All right, we're back. John Rush, host KLZ 560, talking through the break about the new Dodge Hellcats, Charger and Challenger. They're both out, or not out yet, but coming. In fact, can you buy, Isaac, can you buy either one yet? I haven't.
I don't know. No one's going to ask me for that car in Colorado. I don't
You
think.
never know.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
I think they're going to sell them.
The person who buys that car goes directly to the dealer. They don't go to
Well-
somebody like me. They're such a fanatic that if they know about it, they're just going to go try to negotiate with the dealer, and the dealer's going to tell them no negotiation.
Yeah, I built mine and it was $63,000.
Yeah.
We should, you know what? I will give you a task on this though, Isaac. We've had enough people calling in the show asking about them. If you've got any connections through our contacts, if we could figure out when and if they're ever going to make them and when they're going to be here, et cetera, that'd be nice information to give back out if we can find that out. Okay. Just because we've had several ask about it, and now John's asking about it, and I'd love to know just for myself. We actually, somebody claims they saw one driving around town about, I don't know, I got a call about 6 weeks ago or so, Isaac, where somebody claims they found one all disguised, but they could tell that it was a Hellcat, et cetera, driving
That
around
makes
up
sense.
here.
They do
So-
high altitude testing for everything.
yeah, so very, very possible. All right, let's go back to the phone. 303-477-5600 is our number. John or Joe? Sorry, Joe in Lakewood. What's going on today?
Hello.
Hello, Joe.
Hello. I bought a 97 Chevy 1-ton dually,
Okay.
and it has 19.5-inch tires on it.
Yes, it does. So you must have bought a 550.
Oh,
Is it an F350 or an F550?
it's a Chevy.
Well, it's a Chevy, so somebody's changed it and put 19.5 wheels on it then.
Well, it's really
Well, unless you bought a... So what Chevrolet model is? Let me start there.
it's a 3500.
Okay, so if it's a 3500 and it has 19.5 wheels, they've done a conversion.
Oh, okay.
Which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Somebody actually spent quite a bit of money putting a conversion on that to have the 19.5 wheels on it, which is a good option to do. That the only downside is there's pros and cons. You can haul more weight, theoretically, even though the GVW of the truck doesn't really change, but you can theoretically haul more with it. The tires last longer, but they're more expensive to put on the first time around.
Right. And it's a 454, and it looks like it has a body lift.
It probably does to put the 19.5 tires on it.
Right. And there's an air, it looks like air cooling for the radiator in that, there's like a 6-inch gap.
Yes.
Where they,
Yep.
where their air louvers, it looks like, for the radiator.
Is that a two-wheel drive truck or a four-wheel drive truck, Joe?
Two-wheel drive.
That truck was made that way. That truck came that way.
I didn't even notice it until, I didn't start driving it for a while after I bought it. And now it's like you hit a bump in the road and it'll bang your fillings out of your teeth.
Yeah, that truck, that's a specifically made. Those were a heavy-duty 3500 truck. They came with 19.5 tires. They did them in a two-wheel drive only, and they looked like they had a body kit on them, but they didn't. It's just the way they made the truck to clear the 19.5 tires.
Right. Okay, I was just wondering.
No, that's all factory. That's a total stock truck.
Do they make a chip for the engine, for the computer?
On that 454, they probably do, but I found back in those days they didn't do much. They weren't really worth the money.
Okay.
The exhaust and cold air intake are the better things you can do on that truck.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate the phone call. 303-477-5600. Let's go to Scott in Brighton. Another E85 coming. Isaac got us started on E85 earlier this morning. So here we go. Scott, what's going on?
Oh, I just wanted to tell you, E85 is the nicest government subsidized racing fuel in the world.
Yeah.
I had a C6 that is 712 horsepower wheel and stock bottom end, the head cam, and some nitrous. And 11.2s at 126. You can't launch those vets with the square end.
Right.
And my next step was going to be for complete forged rotating assembly. So we decided to convert to 85. It dropped my cylinder temperature to 300 degrees, allowed me to kick my nitrous up 30 horsepower, and I just quit at 1095 at 128.
Congratulations. Yeah, there you go. No, and you're right. It's as everyone, I shouldn't say as everyone knows because everyone does know this. Alcohol, ethanol, which is what was our quote, that the efficiency of it doesn't work quite as well as gasoline does. But when it comes to racing, you are correct. It is one of the best subsidized racing fuels we have.
And you have a broker in there right now, don't you?
We do. Yes.
I just want to tell. Last night, my daughter wanted to help her buy a car. She went to Rockies. I walked in there, and I kept telling them we don't care about car payments. We just want to know the price of the car. And after about 20 minutes of down back and forth, the manager came out, shook our hands, and said, "Sorry, we can't do this."
Really? So he did not want to do business based upon the price of the car, payments only.
Payments only. Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, well, thank you guys.
No, I appreciate it, Scott.
Have a good one.
Thanks a lot. No, appreciate that. And Isaac, we got to chime in on that one because that's an open door. What would you say to somebody? I mean, they left, which was I would recommend them leaving, but what would you recommend to folks when that happens?
Anytime a dealer tries to get you talking about payment, they are trying to make extra money. The reason they get you talking about payment is things can be manipulated so that payment looks good, but extra profit is built into the deal. So there's no other reason that they would talk payment. Payment is a result of the structure of the deal, which is the price of the car you're buying, the price of the car you're trading in, the interest rate on the loan or lease.
And anything else they've added back in to tack on the top of that they're now getting into the payment.
Right. So all those things created payment.
What I mean by that real quick, Isaac, is warranties, gap insurance, all these different things they can, what I call load the deal with, then come up in the payment. And if they can still get you into a payment that you think you can afford, you're still paying more money for the car at the end of the day.
So I have a friend I've known since 1989. He's really smart. He makes a ton of money and he's really frugal. And he always decides he's going to go do his own car deals. He'll call me for 3 hours and then he'll go do his own car deal.
Okay.
So this time I didn't want to play that game and I let him go do his own car deal. And he went over to an Audi dealer, and he was at the Audi dealer for 4.5 hours getting an all road. And he thought he had the smoking deal because his company gets him a discount.
Okay.
Well, he calls me the next Monday, and he goes, "You know what? How do I bring this car back or get them to switch me back from the lease to the purchase I intended to do?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, we were really tired, and they then suggested we do a lease after about 2.5 hours of negotiation. The lease payment looked good, and then they had us put another $2,500 to get the lease payment where we wanted."
No.
Jeez. Anyways, he goes, "It was Sunday. I started examining it, realized there's nowhere on the lease contract that they tell me the interest rate, but when I run it on my calculator, it looks like I'm paying about $6,500 of interest over 3 years on this."
Probably are.
And I said, "You probably are."
That's right.
And I said, "You can call them and ask them if you could change it back to a purchase, but I guarantee they're going to say no." So I have nothing against leasing. About a third of my business is leases.
As long as you know on the front side.
This day and age, people think the internet makes buying a car cheaper. Well, the bottom line is dealers are making the highest profits they've ever made in history.
That's right.
That's why you saw a certain person who owns a certain company called Berkshire Hathaway go buy a group of dealers. He will now probably become the second or third largest dealership group in the country. That's because there's massive profit in dealerships.
And also owns railroads that ship those cars around.
Yeah.
So, side note, but at any rate, let's finish up. We got one more caller before we get to the top of the hour here. One line open is all 303-477-5600. Bill and Longmont, what's going on with your cooling system?
Yes, I got a 2005 Mustang GT I got here, and it had an oil leak on the oil filter adapter. I guess there's a gasket in there. I changed that out, but you got to drain the radiator because the lower radiator always goes in that same adapter.
Yes.
And I poured the antifreeze back in, and it seems like maybe it's not quite full. I mean, it won't take all of it. Is there an airlock, maybe?
Yeah, Bill, make sure you turn your heater on all the way hot, your fan all the way on. You could have an air pocket in the heater core that tends to sit a little bit higher than the rest of the engine or cooling system.
You think there could be an airlock in that hose that I had to pull off to?
No.
The air just gets in the system, is Sean's point, and the bubble just rolls around to the highest place, just like bubbles do. They want to raise.
Yeah.
So it's okay to start it and just run with the heater on for a while.
Yeah, and then, burp it, and then let it cool down, and then you can top off your coolant.
Baby. Just want to burp it, get that air out of there.
Yep.
Okay, I didn't want to damage the engine.
No, you'll be okay.
The weight of oil on that, it says 520.
That's correct. On the board.
Before we move on, I just got a response from one of my top Chrysler dealers, and he said, quote unquote, "I probably won't have a Hellcat available for the next year or two."
Wow.
Period.
Okay.
So don't expect to go in there and get any money off sticker. You're probably going to pay over sticker, and there's probably not going to be a car for you.
Wow. Bill, anything else on your Mustang?
So yeah, even with 100,000 miles, you should still use 520.
Yes. On a Ford, most definitely.
Yes.
And I'd run synthetic in that if it was me.
Yep.
Run a synthetic.
Yep.
Okay.
Full synthetic. All right, Bill.
All right.
Appreciate it. With that, we got to get out of here, guys. We're going to take a quick break right at the top of the hour, which is where we're at right now. Blaze News is next. Don't go away. We got 2 more hours coming up at Drive Radio. I'm your host, Sean Rush, along with Isaac Bouchard, our broker, Kurt Anderson from Anderson's Automotive over in the Colfax and I-70 area, and John Glossick from Geno's, which is over in the Littleton area. Please stay with us. Don't go away. We'll be right back right after the news. John Rush, host, Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Still haven't had enough? Go to drive-radio.com. Email your questions and comments. Download previous programs and find lots of useful information, including your nearest Colorado Select Auto Care Center. That's drive-radio.com. Thanks for listening to Drive Radio, sponsored by the member shops of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers on KLZ 560.
Drive Radio is a presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. The independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select hold each other accountable for their highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that choosing a mechanic is risky business. So Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers heard on Drive Radio, and you will immediately see the difference. For the complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com.
Hi, this is Scott Watley. Join us every Saturday afternoon at 1 p.m. for Sportsman of Colorado. Hunting, fishing, camping, guns, and ammo. We'll get you ready for the big game late rifle season, upland bird hunting, and tips on making your next waterfowl hunt a success. Check out our website, sportsmanofcolorado.com. If you love the outdoors, you'll love Sportsman of Colorado. Sportsman of Colorado, Saturdays, 1 to 2 p.m. right here on KLZ 560.
KLZ AM 560, KLZ HD Denver.
Listen live at KLZ560radio.com.
KLZ 560 on Crawford Broadcasting, God and Country Station.
This is the Blaze Radio News. I'm Brad James. What's being called a shocking move, 2 Americans imprisoned in North Korea have been released and are on their way home. Kenneth Bay and Matthew Todd released by the North Koreans. Another first for the Obama administration, the president will nominate Loretta Lynch later today to replace Eric Holder as Attorney General. If confirmed, Lynch will become the first African-American woman to hold the nation's top law enforcement position. Lynch is 55 years old, a Harvard Law School graduate, and a prosecutor who is currently serving her second stint as U.S. Attorney for Eastern New York, which covers Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island, and Long Island. More U.S. troops headed to Iraq.
Commander-in-Chief has authorized Secretary of Defense Chuck Hagel to deploy to Iraq up to 1,500 additional U.S. personnel over the coming months in a non-combat role.
As Pentagon spokesman Rear Admiral John Kirby, the president asking for another $5.5 billion for the efforts in the Middle East. This is news.
Their source for the truth. Why not make it your source for the truth? Make theblaze.com your homepage for news that the other outlets won't even touch. Subscribe to The Blaze TV at theblaze.com/TV or on Dish Network and get access to original programming like For the Record, the show that exposes what's really going on that the government doesn't want you to know. And Real News, the daily conversation on the topics of the day that matter most. Check out the Blaze Radio Network at theblaze.com/radio with original shows like Buck Sexton, The Morning Blaze with Doc Thompson, Pat and Stu, and Jay Severin. Or if you need something to hold in your hands, subscribe to the Blaze magazine. So basically, anywhere you need to go, you can take the truth with you by taking the Blaze with you. This is the Blaze. Truth lives here. So just to recap, anywhere you need to go, you can take the truth with you by taking the Blaze with you. Find out all the ways at theblaze.com.
You've been listening to the Blaze Radio News on KLZ 560. Freedom 560 with Ken Clark. Weekdays at noon on KLZ 560.
My fancy automobile. Oh, she's the real road king, all right. 0 to 60, 7.5.
do a quarter mile, 13 down the world. 390 horsepower, 500 foot-pounds of torque. Whatever that is. Performance tuning is what it's all about.
There's no such thing as a stupid question. This is Drive Radio. All of your automotive questions are just one phone call away. 303-477-5600. Drive Radio is made possible by the member shops of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. To find one near you, go to drive-radio.com. Now, Drive Radio on KLZ 560.
All right, John Rush, Drive Radio. Thank you all for listening very much. If it's Sunday, which our program is rebroadcast on Sundays, the last 2 hours, you cannot call in. I say this all the time. It's just a reminder. If it's Sunday, you can't call in. If it's Saturday, of course, call us. We'd love to talk to you. But if it is Sunday, you can't call in. But please listen. We encourage you to do that. We appreciate you listening. And we know we have a lot of Sunday listeners. So thanks to all of you that actually do listen to us on Sunday. And remember, if it is Sunday and you've got a question, email us, john@drive-radio.com. I'll answer your questions or find somebody in our group of auto care centers that can. We'll figure out how to get your question answered one way or the other. But if it is Sunday and you've got a question, you can still ask it to us that way. And by the way, you can ask that all the time. You can email us, go to our website, drive-radio.com, and ask questions anytime you want. You don't have to wait for a Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. to actually ask the question. All you have to do is send us an email and we'll get it answered as quickly as we can. We've got in studio with us today, those of you that are just joining us, Isaac Bouchard, who is our local auto broker. We've had a lot of fun during this first hour and some great topics that came up, and we'll continue to talk about that. Isaac's number, by the way, if you want to get a hold of him directly, 303-475-1462, and Isaac will help you buy, sell, lease, trade, find out what you want to buy, not want to buy, where you headed with your family, have your needs changed. Isaac's a guy that can walk you through that entire process, right, Isaac?
Yes.
Good way to sum it up. And I say that because it's important. A lot of times, I say this a lot. A lot of times people buy the wrong car for the wrong reasons. And they buy off of emotion instead of buying off of fact. In other words, what do you need? What's the car going to do for you? What kind of seating arrangements do you need? Do you need a four-wheel drive? Do you not need a four-wheel drive? Most people don't if you really want to get down to it. We go through all these different things. Isaac is a great resource for that. He'll ask you all the pertinent questions to try to determine what vehicle do you need, because there's a lot of fact-finding that goes on when you want to go buy a car. The last thing we want to see you do is think, you know what, I'd like to buy a car. You go to a dealership lot, and before you know it, you're driving away with something that you're going to hate the rest of your life, as long as you own that car. Because Isaac's laughing. You get through the entire sales pitch, and you're driving out of there with a car that just does not fit your needs, right?
Yeah, and you can have both. The emotion and the logic can coexist. The two sides of the brain can get along.
Yes, they can.
I spent some time with a new referral. I don't know what day it was this week, but anyways, we drove 5 cars. And we did it in about 2.5, 3 hours. I set it all up. We had first narrowed it from about 20 to 25 cars talking on the phone. And she's a realtor. She wanted good fuel economy. She wanted to be in a certain price range. She had certain options she wanted. So we narrowed it down to 5 cars. And the 2 she's on right now, one is an SUV, it's a crossover, and one is a 4-door sedan. Those cars don't normally come up as competitors, but
sometimes they do.
Test driving the sedan, got back to the dealer, and she looked down at the fuel readout, and she'd gotten 42 miles per gallon. She said, that's really hard to argue with the miles I drive. Also, she was really excited by the car because it felt like a premium car. It was very nice looking, very nice to drive. And so that was the surprise and delight. There's the emotion, and the logic was that the car gets great fuel economy.
And one thing I would have added to her being a realtor that I think sometimes realtors forget about is if you've got people that have a hard time climbing into a vehicle,
yes,
the sedan in a lot of cases works out easier because you can slide into it versus having to climb up into it.
Yes.
Just my food for thought on realtors. And sometimes they forget that and want to be driving that big SUV, and then you're going to try to get somebody that's, either disabled or elderly or who knows what, and you've got to now try to figure out how am I going to get them in and out of the back seat of this car.
And on top of that, if it's really bad and the roads are packed with snow, you're not out.
You're not showing houses anyway.
No,
Doesn't matter.
You're a realtor. You work for yourself. So front wheel drive will do the job.
That's exactly right. Kurt Anderson's also with us from Anderson's over in the Colfax I-70 area, just west of Colfax and I-70. Kurt's in that area where I-70 actually runs north and south, and he's to the west of I-70 in that area. It's got that little jog to it, and that's where Kurt's at.
Yeah.
Resident Euro expert. Kurt, what all do you guys work on?
We do Volvo, Mercedes, BMW, Volkswagen, Audi are our primary line.
So anytime I get somebody that emails about a Euro car, guess where they're getting sent to? Kurt, because he's our resident guy. He's the guy that knows those
That's a great resource for me because all the time I have people who are stuck in those cars. You know, before they met me, I've got this girl who, she moved here from, I think, the Midwest somewhere, and she bought a 2003, what would that be, a 325i? Because they made a 325 and a 330 that year, right?
I think it was 328.
Yeah, I think 328.
Well, I had a 328, that was 99. But anyways, it's somewhere in that family, and something's about to go kablooey on it. And, you know, it's either the transmission or an input shaft or something, because the car just doesn't drive right at all. And she had spent $5,000 on the car, has subsequently spent $3,000 maintaining the car for 9 months. $8,000 into this car, 130,000 mile BMW, and it's worth about $5,000. She'll get out of it what you put into it, but it's just so sad, and I see this all the time. With these older European cars, and I've owned them myself, and properly maintained, they'll do a lot of mileage, and improperly maintained, they won't.
Right.
And she was a Craigslist buyer, and I've seen Craigslist change over all the years I've been in the car business. And there was a time when Craigslist was a really great source for good cars, and then the dealers all got into it, and the dealers started overwhelming it with software where they would take the same ad and they would do something called spinning it so they could have 20 versions of the same ad. And people are trying to find a car, and they just keep finding the same car advertised a different way.
Yeah.
Well, Craigslist got tired of this, so what they started doing is they started charging dealers $5 an ad. That eliminated most of that type of spinning and the other types of goofy things. But you know what? Most of the cars I find on there now are there's something fraudulent, or they're not a good car, and I don't ever look at all for cars on Craigslist. Nor do I advertise cars on Craigslist. I'm not saying there's not good cars to be found there, but
it's just getting harder to find. You're right about that.
It's really a different thing than it was even 3 years ago.
Good point. Good point. John from Geno's, welcome.
Yep. Thanks, John, for having me. This is the first time I've actually sat with John here as the host, and it's been a pleasure with Isaac. And just wanted to say thank you. And we're over on 3593 West Bowles Avenue. It's right west of Santa Fe on Bowles there. And we are going through a construction.
That's right.
We are adding on. We've added on. We've doubled in size, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
been watching the progress on Facebook, so it's been fun to watch.
Yeah, and we are open. We may not look like it sometimes, but we are open.
It's great. And Geno's is a staple of the Car Select Group, as is Kurt. We appreciate both those guys helping us out. If you need any help on any vehicle, go to our website, carselect.com. All of them are listed there. You can find anybody local that can help you out. Let's go to phones. John is up next. John, welcome. What's going on today?
Hey, good show, guys.
Thank
I got two questions. The second question is for Isaac, but I'll ask the first question.
Okay.
I was a victim of the hailstorm. My car was totaled. They give me a check. I'm happy with it.
Got it.
I'm looking at a major dealership, and that would be question next for Isaac. But I'm finding a used 2013 Ford Fusion hybrid, 32,000 miles, like the car, and I didn't really talk to the salesperson that much. But my question, and I did a little research, it has a CVT transmission.
All hybrids do, but
I wonder how it handles in the snow, and are they good transmissions? Because I know Nissan had some problems with their CVTs. And
the hybrids.
So I just want your opinion.
The hybrids are different as far as how the transmission works than a typical CVT, and there is a couple of exceptions to hybrids and CVTs, one being Hyundai, one being some of the upper end Lexuses also have a different transmission with their hybrids, but not applying to this particular car. And who else?
Honda.
And Honda too. Okay.
Yeah, Honda did something completely different, but most of them are a planetary type of CVT, not a belt and pulley system. So they seem to be fine. Yeah, there's actually gears meshing there, right?
Yeah. And by the way, John, I personally, I don't know where Isaac feels about this, but the Honda or the Fusion hybrid, I actually like that car. I think the car works very well. I have nothing bad to say about that car.
Those are supposed to be really nice.
Well, good, because I looked at it, really liked it. I liked the size of the car, and I know what Ford has been doing. I've been real happy. I won't give the name of it, Buick GMC. But anyway, I never talked price. I never did anything. I just looked at the car. Do you do negotiations with major? I mean, would it be best to go through you to get that car at a good price or what?
That's a great question. Some dealers I can negotiate with, many I can't anymore. So it all depends on which dealership it is.
You want me to tell you?
Sure.
It's Pontiac.
Certainly not.
Certainly not. Okay.
Suss
Okay.
has a very distinct business model, and they buy tremendous numbers of program cars. Program cars are basically cars that the manufacturer makes a deal with the rental agency and then buys the car back.
Okay.
And they have buyers who travel the whole country buying these program cars, and as you noticed on their lot, hundreds of these cars.
Yeah.
And they won't negotiate with anybody in my business. And I've
Well, if
tried
I
for
tell you
20
that I want a Ford Fusion, a couple years old, hybrid, could you find something like that?
I can certainly try. Now, that car is not sold that well. And the reason the car is not sold that well is, one, Ford got in trouble along with Hyundai Kia for overstating their fuel economy numbers. And we were going to talk about this later in the show anyways. And the real fuel economy on that car is roughly 40 to 42. Now, you can get 47 out of it, is what it used to be rated at. But you've really got to drive like you don't care if you ever get there in this lifetime to get that 47 miles per gallon.
Correct.
But 42, how can anybody really complain about that? So it's a great car.
Well, how does the hybrid handle in the snow? This question's, I guess, for John in a way.
Well, no, it's all down to tires because all these hybrids come with a fuel efficiency tire.
Right.
And the tire is worth 1 to 2 miles per gallon. If you put a normal tire on there, you will get 1 to 2 miles per gallon less, but the car will be better in the snow because the rubber will better adjust itself to the outside temperature.
Which is the conversation we had last week, John, and we had the tire guys on with us from Michael, between a winter tire versus a regular all-season tire versus a summer tire. That car, if you end up with a hybrid, by the way, this is any hybrid out there, I would do this. I would run 2 different sets of tires and just switch them out. Run a winter tire during the winter months. As you get back into April, May, switch back over to your summer tires, and then right about now, you'd go back to the winter tires, which, by the way, Quick Tread, if you do end up buying a car, they've got a special right now where they will do that for you at a very discounted price. As far as if you buy tires from them, they will then discount the swapping back out as we get back into the springtime, if that's something you decide to do.
Oh, okay. Well, good. Well, does that Ford, is that a front-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive on the hybrid?
That's a front-wheel drive.
Oh, okay.
And John, you can always call me after the show or during the week. What I'll do is I'll take a quick look and see how many of these things, if any, are running through the auctions, and that will give me an idea of how available they are. And it'll also tell me what they're bringing wholesale, which will help us figure out what we can get one for retail at a good price.
Okay. Well, my main concern was the CVT transmission, but that doesn't seem to be a big issue.
Don't worry about it.
No, it works fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Great show, guys.
Thank you.
for the help.
Thank you, John,
Give
so
me out
much.
the number again, Isaac.
303-475-1462.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back. One line open, 303-477-5600. Brandon actually emailed me last night asking some questions about some car swapping, Isaac, so we'll get to him as soon as we come back. And then Sam has a question on DG44K, which we had some questions on last week on also. So great questions. One line open, 303-477-5600. We'll be back right after this. Don't go away. John Rush, KLZ 560.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants from their vehicle. Regardless of make or model, you want your vehicle to take you where you need to go. Reliability is exactly what Colorado Select Auto Care Centers offer. They've set the standard for excellence in automotive repair and maintenance. Each Colorado Select member currently offers Napa's Peace of Mind warranty, but are now also offering an extended 2-year or 24,000-mile warranty on repair work. You won't find this offer anywhere else. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you, log on to drive-radio.com or call 303-546-6272.
At Napa Auto Parts, we've been the most trusted name in auto parts for over 80 years. Probably because we've never stopped looking for ways to make the great parts we sell even better. It's a commitment to quality you'll find in every one of our 310,000 parts. From the bacteria-killing surface on our cabin air filters, to the patented damping mechanism on our drive-align belt tensioners, to our revolutionary new Adaptive One brakes. And Napa parts are covered by a warranty that's good at any of our 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores nationwide. Yeah, maybe you don't get this at your average auto parts store, but at Napa, We spent the last 80 years making sure we were anything but average. To find the Napa Auto Parts store nearest you, go to NapaOnline.com. Napa, get the good stuff.
With over 125 locations in Colorado, southern Wyoming, and western Nebraska, there's only one place to get the good stuff. Napa Auto Parts.
After 30 years of business, Geno's Auto Service is expanding. Hi, this is Jennifer, and my dad owns Geno's Auto Service in Littleton. What does our expansion mean for you? Savings on all our repair and maintenance services. We work on all makes and models, and your satisfaction is always guaranteed. At Geno's, we use genuine Napa parts and are AAA approved. Stop by and see the transformation at Falls and Black Canyon, or visit us online at genosautoservice.com. That's genosautoservice.com.
Your car performs better when things are simple. And it's easy to see how the maze of plumbing under the hood can slow it down. A K&N AirTake system replaces the maze with a single custom engineered tube. The result? A guaranteed increase in horsepower, a dramatic increase you can actually feel. Visit K&N website to look up the extra horsepower available for your vehicle. K&N, an American manufacturer since 1969.
All right, we are back. John Rush, host, Drive Radio, KLZ 560. Let's go to Brandon, who's up next. Brandon, thanks for the email last night. Go ahead, shoot your question to Isaac.
So yeah, from the email last night, my girlfriend currently drives a 2007 Chevy Cobalt that's getting up there in mileage, and she's having some issues with it, so she's wanting to get something new. She's wanting to spend, her budget's about $15,000, and the only real things that she needs are, she drives about 45 minutes a day for her commute to work, and she'll also travel to bordering states. So gas mileage is a big thing, and then 4 doors. She'd prefer to have 4 doors.
I'd probably start is I wouldn't do a brand new car. I'd do a year or two old car. And one of the better values for what you're describing would be the new body style Toyota Corolla. I got one of those for somebody who wanted to do exactly the same thing. And the new Corollas get really great real world fuel economy. Unlike a lot of cars that are rated well but don't get it, the Corolla actually turns in real numbers that are in the 30s and 40s. It's really roomy. It's a little bit sportier than the old one. It's better built than the old one because Toyota went through a phase where their cars were all worse than the cars they used to make. They got really arrogant as they grew. And then they realized that and they started building good cars again. And that new body style Corolla, which came out last year, is actually a really good car. So if we could find, again, a program type car coming off Lease Enterprise, had tons of them coming out last year. I sold one about 3 months ago. And you know, it's right around that 15 grand money. That would be a wonderful car.
Okay, yeah, perfect. Any other makes and models? She's not really, really doesn't matter. Any make or model.
Chevy Cruze is another one that comes to my mind, which has actually ended up being a very good staple car, upwards of, if you get the right engine, upwards of the 40 miles to the gallon mark. Very similar car to the Corolla, different look to the car. My folks my folks and daughter own one of those cars, so they've had very little issues with them and had a great car. They were fine.
I don't know that I can find one, but they're a great car. I don't know because I've never sold one used because I don't see many of them used come through Colorado. So some of these cars are more likely to be found in certain states where
I did just find. I just had some friends of mine that bought. So there has to be someone coming through the auctions because I just had some friends of mine bought a year-old rental car, one that came off a rental program, and just bought one that was a year-old, right around that same price that you're looking at, Brandon. So again, what I would do is call Isaac during the week, let him do some bird dogging for you, see what's out there, see what's available, and see if he can find stuff for you.
Yeah, and the other one I think is great is a Nissan Altima. And they use a CVT, but I haven't. Have you guys seen many troubles?
The late model ones are much better.
Yeah.
The CVT troubles Nissan had were in the earlier cars, and they were in cars with a V6 like the Murano, where there's a lot of torque. And these 4-cylinders seem to do quite well with them. And so latter model Altimas get great fuel economy. They're really quiet and they're really refined, and they don't seem to have too many issues.
No, they work well.
And you guys got time for one more question?
Sure, go right ahead.
So her current, the 2007 Chevy Cobalt, the issues with it is probably got 180-ish thousand miles on it, and one of the cylinders doesn't have compression anymore. It's pretty much just running on one cylinder. I've had it looked at and I've taken it apart. So it's pretty much shot. What's kind of my options on trading it in or getting rid of it or selling it privately what do you think my options would be with that?
Not good. Donate it.
I donate it, or I know a guy that he goes around and pays you cash for the scrap value.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I remember every once in a while you hear dealers running like the push pull or drag.
They are, but they're inflating the price. And I'll let Isaac talk to this.
Actually, that's a really good thing to bring up.
They're inflating the price of the new car to gift you as much money out of the used car as they possibly can.
That's kind of what I was figuring, but I just wanted to get.
That's a great point, Isaac.
No, you nailed it. That's all I do. And actually, it's illegal. It's completely illegal. And they've passed new legislation to try to stop this happening, where they have to disclose that that's what they're doing. But they seem to get away with it anyway. So
Those are never as good as it seems to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You'd be better off to go to Isaac, buy a car, get the deal done, go to Craigslist or one of us. And again, that's something that one of our car select facilities can help you with. We've got two guys sitting here right now. Any of our guys could help you with finding somebody that'll write you a check, scrap value. You know, Dennis out at Extreme Auto and up here in Parker, he does a lot of that type of thing. And in fact, Dennis might be a guy willing to even buy it. He might fix it and resell it if he thinks he can do it cheap enough, because that's the kind of cars he deals in. But there's ways internally for us to help you get rid of it without going to a push pull or drag dealer.
And as a final thought, bravo for getting that car to go that far.
Yeah.
Really amazing.
Good job.
You must listen to Drive Radio.
Perfect. And can I get Isaac's number one more time?
You got 303-475-1462.
Thanks, guys.
You betcha, Brent. Thanks a lot. Appreciate the phone call and the email last night, and that worked out great. I just told him to just call us today on air, and it worked out much better. It's always easier to talk through these things than to do it via email. So it's way, way easier. So I would encourage you, if you got questions, just call Isaac direct. Sam in Westminster, by the way, one line open, 303-477-5600. What's going on, Sam?
Hi. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I get to ask the old guy question of the day.
Okay.
I'm an old guy. I burn Conoco gas. I drive about 5,000 miles a year.
Okay.
And my question on BG44K is, from listening to your show, I understand that Conoco gas already has that additive in it. So if that's the case, do I need to add the additive separately once a year?
In your case, with that fuel of mileage, I probably would only do it every third year with a little bit of mileage that you're driving, because if you buy high quality fuel, it's just not as big of a deal, and you don't drive as much, you don't drive that. It's fine.
Okay. Well, that's it. Thank you very
Again,
much.
not to take anything away from 44K, but I think John's over here agreeing. It's overkill. You don't need it. In fact, in some cases, you're going to do more harm than good if you're driving that.
Too is, I see folks come with like 60,000 miles, never did a fuel treatment whatsoever. That's maybe a little more intense. Steve, the owner of Geno's, just purchased a motor vac machine.
Right.
It's a carbon clean service, also done for preventative maintenance. We recommend every 30 to 60,000 miles, depending on the car. And we've seen as much as 3 miles to a gallon increase, which is what we were talking about earlier. I can go into that a little bit later, but yes, I agree with John that 44K done, and you want to space out, at least, what do you think, like 10,000 miles?
Yeah, at least. I think if you read the can, don't quote me on this, but I, at one point in time, thought that it was supposed to be 15,000 miles. But again, don't quote me on that. And it's been a while since I've actually physically picked up a can of that, read the label to see what it says. But I think they will even tell you don't want to, it's not something you want to put in every 3,000-4,000 miles. It's just not intended for that.
Yeah, it's just a waste of money.
It's pretty caustic, and you're just not going to want to treat things with it that often. So let's get one more call in before our break. By the way, line's open, 303-477-5600. Don, welcome. What's going on today?
Hey, John. Nice to
Hey, good to hear from you, Don.
Hey, I wanted to thank Isaac for helping nail down the price on that Toyota Camry that I had to sell.
You bet. Happy to help.
Yeah, the trouble with going on the internet, and I had been on the internet, is the prices are all over the place, and you don't know what's going on.
Very true.
No, and all the cars look really good in the pictures on the internet.
Yeah,
they really do.
No, you're right.
Yeah, but Isaac was able to nail it down to what these cars sell for in Denver, and I was able to sell it. My sister-in-law and her husband needed a car, so they bought it, but they got it for the right price.
Is that the one your dad had?
Yes.
I wanted it too for one of my clients who needs that kind of car.
Well, at least you kept it in the family, Don. That's okay.
Yeah, sure, and they're happy, and we discounted it, the price for the repairs that needed to be done, and so everybody's happy.
Perfect. Well, we're glad we can help you, Don.
I really appreciate Isaac for helping me.
My
Thanks,
pleasure.
Isaac.
Hey, thanks so much, Don. We appreciate it. And yeah, and that's a testament. I appreciate Don. He's a regular listener. I know Don. He comes to all of our remotes and know him personally. And that's just a great testament to what not only Isaac, but the way our sponsors work on Drive Radio. They're all vetted. We all know these folks, one-on-one. I wouldn't be sitting here recommending all of these people that are inside of our Drive Radio family if I didn't believe in them. That includes Isaac. That includes Paul, our insurance person who's going to be on with us next week from American National Insurance, Quick Tread, Ken and Mike, who were on with us last week, all of our Colorado Select facilities, Napa Auto Parts, of course, our main sponsor, who does a great job on the parts side of the fence. Planned on it, just the way it worked out. But no, all of those sponsors. And I would encourage you, if you like our show, please use our facilities, please use our sponsors. Call Isaac, call Paul, get your info. So call Isaac for the car, call Paul and get it insured. Call Mike and Ken at Quick Trade when you need the thing. You need to put new skins on it. Call them and get the tires handled. And then call our Colorado Select facilities when you need the car maintained and repaired. So we've got the whole circle covered, from buying, maintaining, insuring, getting some high performance stuff done through K&N, Napa, of course, all the parts side of the fence, and then Isaac can come back around at the end of the day when it's time to switch out that car because the need changes and you want to sell it or get another vehicle, and we start that process all over again. So folks, we've got the entire package right here on Drive Radio. That's why we do what we do every single Saturday. So lines open. Got a little low on the phone calls. It's been really, really busy the last hour and a half. If you've got something you want to ask us, please call us now. John Rush, your host, 303-477-5600 on Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
At Arvada West Auto, we know that fluids are the life of your vehicle. They are also complicated, with all the different types, from motor oil to gear oils to coolant. The types of fluids, service procedures, and intervals can vary widely. Let us help you sort out what your vehicle needs and when it needs to be serviced. Stop in or call us at Arvada West Auto, 11752 West 64th Avenue, 303-422-1065. You can visit us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com.
Having transmission problems? Stop by Larry's Automotive today. We're your only Colorado Select auto care in North Denver that also specializes in automatic and manual transmissions. We're a family-owned small business taking care of your family-owned fleet of cars, trucks, and SUVs since 1994. We specialize in transmission and drivetrain problems and offer a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty. We're also an ATRA member. Call us at 303-427-2108 for an appointment, or find us on the web at coloradoselect.com. Larry's Automotive, a proud member of Colorado Select Auto Care.
We've all been there. You're under the hood and suddenly realize you don't have the parts you need. Or even worse, you don't know what parts you need. Well, at Napa Auto Parts, we have ASE certified parts specialists that'll make sure you find that right part. One covered by a warranty, but at any one of 6,000 Napa locations. Yeah, finding the right part might not be easy, but fortunately, finding the right parts store is. Go to NapaOnline.com for the location nearest you. Napa, get the good stuff.
A 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on every auto repair says so much more than, if it's not right, we'll try to fix it again. A 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty tells me that this is a master mechanic who's confident, who knows what they're doing. I mean, nobody offers a warranty like that, right? Colorado Select Auto Care Centers do, and only the members of Colorado Select offer a warranty this good. Find a mechanic who's a member of Colorado Select Auto Care at coloradoselect.org.
All right, and we are back. John Rush, your host, Drive Radio, room full of guests, which I really enjoy. We've got a great crowd with us today that can answer any question that you've got, from the Euro side of the fence to the buying and selling side of the fence to John, who's done some high performance and racing sides of the fence. You name it, we can handle the whole gamut. Give us a call, 303-477-5600. And let's go to David, who's up next. David in Idaho, welcome. What's going on today?
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment about the top-tier fuel.
Yes.
And it's so critical to use top-tier fuel, especially with the GDI engines that are out there.
Yep.
There's a lot of issues on the backside with dealers in servicing the direct injection gasoline engines because of the deposit buildups in our driving style in America. So it's absolutely essential to use that in that type of vehicle. And I also wanted to mention about salvage vehicles. I had a customer that was pretty down and out. They purchased a Jaguar with a salvage title, had a pre-purchase inspection done, but it is just, unless you really know the vehicle, do not buy a salvage vehicle. It ended up having a water leak, a leak on the transmission control unit, and it ended up costing them thousands of dollars to get this thing.
I would second what David's saying. I am not a salvage title fan. I've got friends of mine that I know buy them, and they seem to do okay with it, but they've got a lot more guts than you say it that way. They got more guts than I do, because I would not buy one with a salvage title.
Yeah, David.
You know, it's really, you know, you really get more into the price, because a lot of times you'll see those vehicles on Craigslist, you know, and on eBay for a really super good deal, and they look really nice. And in this case, you know, it was checked out by a good technician. But, you know, any good technician is not going to know that the thing leaks water. And of course, you know, you got, you know, repairs that weren't done properly. And, you know, then I got the vehicle and, you know, we straightened it out for the customer because they couldn't give it away to somebody else, you know, knowing right. So it's just, you know, it's just not worth it.
Yeah, if it's the type of thing where you can do your own work and own maintenance, I mean, maybe, but to buy one and have a shop do it, that's just scary for even the shop.
I think do some of those things yourself, and you're willing to take that risk, knowing that, okay, it's a cheaper price, but I can take the risk. I can handle some of these things myself. The only thing to realize also, what David's saying is very true. The other thing to realize, guys, is unless you go watch the title, which we can talk about later in the show as to how that works, if that title says salvage, it's always going to be worth less money, period.
Yeah, and the one thing too, David, is I found this out recently with my friend that has an Audi A6, and it had a salvage title. It had a major manufacturer recall, and with a salvage title, the manufacturer does not honor any recalls.
Exactly.
It was piston replacement.
Yeah.
That's thousands of dollars.
Go ahead, Isaac.
Okay, this is a segue. We've had one of the worst hail years we've had, and a lot of the dealers are advertising these hail cars. Now, here's what you need to know about these hail cars. They bring in literally truckloads of guys from out of state that we all refer to as storm chasers, who just chase hailstorms. That's what they do. Does not mean they're not excellent hail repair technicians, but these cars are not repaired as well, in my experience, as if you got your car hailed on and contracted with a good hail repair expert to do it. They're done at a discount, because what they do is they'll give these guys 100 cars, and instead of the $1,500 it might cost, if you had it done, they'll do them for $1,000 each, or they'll do them for $800 each.
That's right.
So they typically do it quicker, and if you look at the work, usually there'll be marks left from the hail. Now that's one of the problems. Two, if you ever get hailed on again, you cannot do paintless dent repair to hail the car. Paintless dent repair to fix the car, you have to paint it, because you can only do that typically once.
Yeah.
Three, I actually had another situation where I had a new Chevy Suburban I sold, and I needed to bring it in for some warranty work before I delivered it to the customer, because there was a defect from the manufacturer. And they said, Isaac, is that a hail car? And I said, no, why? And they said, well, we can't warranty it. So there's going to be warranty restrictions if you have a hail car. Four, many of the manufacturers put limitations on what they'll finance on it or lease on it. So there's all these problems.
And one more thing to add, which we'll talk about next week with Paul, our insurance guy. Some insurance companies have stipulations for salvage titled cars and or hailed damaged cars. So David, you bring up a great point, because you got to make sure you're doing all of your homework, because there are some insurance companies that won't even insure those cars.
Yeah,
exactly.
So, hey, you want to give your tech tip out real quick so I don't have to read it?
Yeah. The tech tip of the week is a good time for this time of year. We're going into the winter season. Take the time when you're either rotating your own tires or having a tire shop do it, is apply anti-seize to the wheel studs and or bolts and to around the hub center. Reason being is most technicians remove wheels with an impact. The impact, the high speed of the impact, actually, if the studs are rusty or the wheel bolts are rusty, a lot of times the threads will go and you'll pull threads and break bolts, and it gets expensive. And if you're ever alongside a road, you need to do a flat repair, and you've got a wheel that's corroded to the hub, you'll know what I mean.
That's right. And to David's point, and he had this in his email, and I'll just add this. We now in the Denver Metro Front Range area, so up and down the Front Range, from Colorado Springs all the way up, and including even all the way up into Cheyenne, etc. We are no longer, unless it's some municipalities do this, some counties, but for the most part, 90% of the municipalities up and down the Front Range are using a 100% salt mix. There's no more, gravel with some salt in it. There's a few places that still use that, but 90% of what's being put down on our roads is straight salt. What does that mean? Higher corrosion than we've ever seen in this area. Yes. We never had that before. As a kid growing up, really up until about even 10 years ago, we had a sand salt mix. So a lot of where our brown cloud has actually gotten better is because we're not putting the dirt or the sand down on the roads that then gets ground up, creates dust, etc. So we're going to a straight salt mix, which goes along with what David's talking about on wheels and those sorts of things that anti-seize will actually help keep that corrosion that we're now getting from the salt and the mag chloride, etc., from seeping into all those different areas and getting your tires and wheels off and on easier.
Okay, so I have something to add to that, but I'm a little bit confused. Are we using salt and magnesium chloride?
Both.
Okay, so the magnesium chloride has another effect.
Yes.
It doesn't affect the paint, but it affects the chrome finish on cars.
Correct.
We went through a period where cars had almost no chrome. It was a style thing.
Right.
Now we're back to huge amounts of chrome, and within one season, the chrome on your car can be completely eaten up by the mag chloride, and no manufacturer will warranty it.
Yeah. The mag chloride, you have to get washed off after. And by the way, first thing, you get it washed off after storm. First thing, wax the car. If you keep wax on the car on the front side, it keeps that mag chloride from doing as much damage as it typically would. And there's a misconception with the mag. The mag chloride is not really a snow melter, although it does. Really what the mag chloride is doing is it's like Teflon on a pan. It's keeping the snow and ice from sticking to the pavement, so when the plow does come along, it comes off that much easier, and it does keep a certain amount of snow from building up. So it's a two-part thing, and we use it preventatively on the front side of a storm, depending upon temperatures during a storm, but typically we're going to put, as the storm's going on, straight salt back down on the roads.
And I have one final thing to add.
Go ahead.
The only solution I've come up with to keep that from happening to your chrome is you buy a bottle of spray wax. You can get this at any auto parts store or online, and just type in spray car wax, and it comes out as a spray. It's got some mild cleaners and detergents and wax in there.
That's right.
And you keep that in the car or in your garage with a microfiber towel, and as soon as you come off the road, because you're not going to go to the car wash if it's 20 degrees, you squirt it all over the chrome parts, you wipe it off. I did that all last year on a car. I took skiing every weekend, and at the end of the winter, there was no damage.
Nope, that's exactly how you do it. Great point. Yep. David, anything else you want to add?
No, that's good. You guys keep up the good work.
We'll do it. Appreciate it, David. Thanks so much for the phone call. And David in Idaho, great technician, calls in, listens weekly. Shows you we have listeners all over the place. Last week we had them all the way up into Montana. So we appreciate all of you that listen, even that aren't in our general local area. Thank you so much. We do appreciate it. Tell your friends, family, anybody else listening how they can do that. They can listen online, klzthesource.com, the TuneIn app, multiple ways to listen to us, and that's an easy thing to do. So again, a line open 303-477-5600. Let's go to Chan, who's up next, who's got a Jaguar question. What's going on, Chan?
Yeah, I got this 96 Jaguar, and it's my fault. I kind of stored it in the garage, didn't start it for years, and of course now it won't start. And I had a guy come out and he put gauges on it and checked all the fuses, and everything was okay. And when I squirted with a syringe gas in the fuel injector, it'll run for a few seconds. So I don't know. I think there's something wrong. The gas is plugged up, probably gummed up.
Okay.
I mean, you may have had a fuel pump go bad over time. They are electronic on those Jaguars. What model Jaguar is it, Chan?
It's an XJ6.
XJ6. Okay. Yeah, that does run electronic fuel pump. Over time sitting, I mean, did you put the fuel stabilizer in the tank?
Yeah, I put some of that in. Probably not enough, but
yeah.
And how long has it been sitting?
7-8 years.
Okay, 7 or 8 years. And has it got the original fuel from 7 or 8 years ago?
Well, I've added new fuel.
But how much was in it, and how much did you add?
Oh, there was probably 3 or 4 gallons in, I added about that much more.
So you're about half good. You probably still don't have good enough gas for it to run on.
Yeah, that gas is probably just the consistency of water at this point.
Yeah, you need to really get all that drained out, put fresh gas in it, and then see if it'll start.
What's it smell like? I mean, it's got to smell pretty terrible. I imagine.
Yeah.
I don't really smell much. Like I say, it's in the garage. It'll start run nicely, but then runs out of fuel injection and quits.
Yeah, so you're putting fuel into the rail itself, and then it stops. Is what you're? Yeah, that's because the fuel in the tank's not good enough for it to run on.
Yeah.
That would be my first guess.
Know anybody I could have somebody come out. I don't really have one.
Yeah, call Dennis over in our Parker facility. So he's an Extreme Automotive over in Parker. Call Dennis, and he can help you out. I can put you on hold, and Larry will get you his number. Let me do that right now, Chan. We'll put you on hold. Larry, if you would talk to Chan on 3, give him Extreme Automotive's phone number, Dennis over there, and he'll take care of that. With that, guys, let's take a quick break. We got one line open, 303-477-5600. John in Denver, you're up next. Don't go away. John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
At Napa, we're always trying to make the great parts we sell even better. From the bacteria-killing surface on our cabin air filters to our revolutionary new Adaptive One brakes. And every Napa part is covered by a warranty good at any of our 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores. Yeah, maybe you don't get this at your average auto parts store, but we've spent the last 80 years making sure we were anything but average. Go to NapaOnline.com for a location nearest you. Napa, get the good stuff.
Need a one-stop auto repair solution in Boulder? At John's 4x4 Center, they service and maintain more than just 4x4s. From big trucks to diesel pickups, their team of service specialists and technicians have the computer diagnostics, tools, and expertise to service and repair any maker model. They combine their skills with integrity, giving you the best service in the industry. From preventative maintenance to major repairs, you can trust your vehicle to John's 4x4, located on Arapahoe Road, just east of 63rd. Convenient shuttle service and after-hours drop. If you're ready to form a solid relationship with an auto repair shop, the new owners at John's 4x4 Center are committed to providing the personal and professional service you're looking for. Give them a call at 303-449-2640. Check them out on the web or follow them on Facebook at johns4x4.com.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants from their vehicle. Regardless of make or model, you want your vehicle to take you where you need to go. Reliability is exactly what the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers offer. They set the standard for excellence in automotive repair and maintenance. Each member offers Napa Auto Care Peace of Mind Warranty, along with the highest level of customer service and integrity. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you, log on to drive-radio.com or call 303-546-NAPA.
Do you love things that require gas or diesel fuel to run? Do you need a job? Or are you just looking for a change? Napa Auto Parts is looking for delivery drivers and salespeople in all locations in the Denver metro area. If you have experience in the industry, that helps, but it is not mandatory. Please go to NapaAutoJobs.com. Again, that's NapaAutoJobs.com and fill out the application. Please mention Drive Radio on that application. Napa Auto Parts, an equal opportunity employer. All right, we're back. Thanks for listening to John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560. Lines are full. As soon as somebody drops off, call us and we'll get you right on air. Let's see. John from Denver is up next. John, welcome. What's going on today?
Hey, John. Things are going well. I have a problem with the 05 Chevy Express van 2500.
Okay.
A 4.8 liter engine. I was driving it the other day and check engine light came on and tranny started slipping, pounding into gear.
Okay.
So when I had to go somewhere, I shut it off. About 10 minutes, started it up again. Check engine light was still on. It shifted perfectly. Then maybe a few days later, same thing happened after driving on I-25, probably 25 minutes. Then it works fine. had it looked at, and they wanted to rebuild it. And I was, kind of saying, well, why does it run fine at some points, and then, runs shit's bad in others? So, wondering if you had that similarity in the past.
Anyone, John? Anything?
I've seen in the past with when you reset them, it could have a in the transmission control module, it could have a fault in there. It could be picking up a bad solenoid. Basically, by resetting it, it's resetting that module in the programming. So if once that solenoid starts failing again intermittently, the computer's trying to not put in a limpo mode, it's trying to adapt for this fault. I just gotta say the obvious, man. We just got to get it hooked up to a computer and start.
That was the next question I had. Was, has anybody really dove in and looked at it at all yet, John?
No, they ran a snap-on check on it, and it came up all different types of.
So it had more than one code in it?
No, it actually had one code, but they seemed to think that it needed to be rebuilt. But I just.
And you've got, I didn't hear, how many miles are on it?
Got about 215,000.
215. Well, I tell you what I'm going to recommend you do, and I'm going to put you back on hold because Larry actually is standing in here from Larry's Automotive. They specialize in transmission stuff. In fact, this particular vehicle they do a lot with. I'm going to put you on hold, let him talk to you directly because I'm with John. We've got to get somebody to delve into this a little more and find out what's going on. It could very well need a transmission, but let's make sure first before we actually condemn it. I'm going to put you back on hold. Yeah, nuts. I'm sorry. John, call me right back. Larry, I'll talk to you. I messed up, put the wrong button. I'm so used to hitting the one button all the time. I apologize. As soon as he calls back, Matt, have Larry pick it up and talk to him. So, John, call us back. I'll have Larry talk to you, give you some information on where you can go and how they can get that thing dialed in and looked at for you. Let's go to Dennis, who's up next. Dennis, welcome. What's going on?
Hey, John. How are you?
Hey, good.
Thank all you guys for being there today. We appreciate it.
No, thank you, Dennis, for calling.
Hey, you guys had a good discussion about fuel in the first hour.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm crazy because, I drove a diesel almost exclusively for about 10 years.
Right.
But I've noticed, especially since fuel prices have dropped, that I guess I'm old enough to remember about a dime a gallon difference in between the different fuel grades.
Yes.
Unleaded, mid-grade, and premium.
Correct. Yep.
And now that's jumped at Shell to a quarter a gallon.
Yep.
I'm wondering, is that a product of keeping regular unleaded as cheap as possible, or ad packs, detergent? Why is it gone from a dime to a quarter?
I think it's a combination of all of the above. I think some of it is they're trying to keep that base price down as much as they can, and of course they still have to make money, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm all for making money. They do have a higher profit margin in their mid and premium grade fuels. There's no doubt about that. They also have a higher cost because of the ad packs they are putting into those mid and upper grade fuels. Is it 25 cents a gallon? You know what? I have no clue. Maybe somebody that's inside the industry would love to call in and chat with us and let us know whether that is in fact the case. I know Dorsey Johnson listens a lot. Maybe Dorsey can share some insight on that. But my gut feeling is it probably comes down to a cost factor. I bet you they also are making a penny or two more per gallon, Dennis, on those higher end fuels than they are on the lower end. So that probably absorbs, 2 or 3 cents of the 25. How much of the rest of it is actual product? I have no clue.
Yeah, because I bought a used Ford Ranger to keep the miles off the diesel, especially with that 7.3. But it has made quite a difference running top-tier fuel.
Yep.
The vehicle idles better than when I got it.
Yep.
It runs smoother. Getting about 20 to 21 miles per gallon, which is
great
and pretty good for
That's
a Ranger.
great. It's really good.
Yeah, so that quarter a gallon is worth it. It just kind of strikes me as odd.
No, and you're right. It's just again, I'll do some research, Dennis, and see if I can figure out and get somebody to call in and talk about it. One thing that it has been nice, of course, is when we're at $75 or $78 a barrel, it sure drops the price of fuel, really, really quickly. And something else, this is something that I'm going to talk about in the weeks ahead on my other show during the week. But one thing that we all forget about is when the price of the barrel gets that low, It's because of supply and demand, and of course, as a country, we're finally, North America, I should say, is finally producing a lot more fuel, a lot more oil, I should say, than we were several years ago. The other byproduct of cheap fuel, not only does it help all of us in the United States drive to and from, it keeps money out of the pockets of the terrorists, which everybody tends to forget at times. How does it do that? How do you think most of the terrorists are funded by? Middle East oil. So when we can cut into OPEC and we can export more as a country, it's had an interesting conversation. We were talking about the Keystone Pipeline and different things, and this particular person's feeling was the Keystone Pipeline really wouldn't do anything to help us as a country. It just helps us export more fuel, more oil. And I looked him in the eye and I said, and what's wrong with that?
Well, the reason they say that is because there's a certain amount of carbon emissions from refining different types of fuel.
Right.
And the tar sands actually create more carbon output than some other types of fuel.
Correct.
You got to balance that out against threat of terror and everything else. Right. And unless I'm wrong, the United States is now the largest energy producer in the world because of our natural gas and oil. We've surpassed Saudi Arabia and
correct.
Russia.
That's exactly right.
It's kind of crazy to think that all happened within 5 or 6 years.
It's a great thing. And my point with the pipeline is, Dennis, and you know where I stand on this, my point with the pipeline was, I don't care if it's getting exported, because all of that does what I just said. It will still lower the overall barrel price of oil, thereby saving us money, thereby cutting into OPEC in the Middle East, Venezuela, other places like that, makes us a stronger country at the end of the day. What's wrong with that? Nothing. So build that pipeline.
Yeah.
Right. Also, just a reminder to everybody out there to check your battery before Monday. It's supposed to get cold.
Good point. Yep.
I had one quit on me this week while I was driving without warranty.
It's been perfect since I bought the car. I shut it off, went upstairs, did not leave the light on. I know that. Came down, dead as a doornail. And I've had this happen to me on personal cars 4 or 5 times over the years. And so when I sell a car, we've always checked the battery. Had our shop, one of the shops we use, check a battery, and it will pass. And if it doesn't, I put a battery in it. And then a month later, somebody calls and says the battery died, and they're really mad. But is it true? These are just a plug and play type of thing. You don't do maintenance on a battery anymore, and they just seem to have a really steep drop off where they go from fine to nothing in a
and that's
in a cycle, right?
That's correct. I mean, other than keeping the corrosion off of the terminals, it's one of those things. And two, the design of starters these days, they're a gear reduction type, and your Toyota's and it'll sound just like normal. And then the next day, if that battery finally dies off, then it starts really slow.
Right.
So a lot of folks, I tell them, this battery's testing marginal. It's like, well, I've never had a problem starting it. I'm telling you, you're gonna.
That's right. The other thing about batteries too is they do have, to Dennis's point, they've got a life expectancy. If it's a 5-year battery, it's marketed as a 5-year battery. At year 4, you should probably look at replacing the battery. Okay?
That's about right.
If it's a 7-year battery, at year 5 or 6, you should look at replacing the battery. They will overnight. They could drop off right off the bat. And by the way, the heat and the cold, the extremes affect the battery more than anything. And lastly, and to Dennis's point, checking the battery with the right equipment makes a huge difference. We now have electronic equipment that can actually do more of a, I'm going to kind of exaggerate here and call it a sonar test of the battery. That's not the right wording, but it can do more of a deep type of a check. It's a sonar type check of the battery to see how well the plates are and how everything's working, give you a better idea of what the battery life is left versus just doing the old plates where you just kind of cranked up the, the load on it to see what things were doing. And it's much more sophisticated than that today.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Dennis. Appreciate the phone call.
Yeah.
All right, 2 lines open, 303-477-5600. About a minute left before we go to the news. Ken, I'll try to squeeze you in. If not, we'll carry over the news. What's going on? Hello, Ken.
Oh yeah, sorry. Jenny, you were talking about folks that pick up cars. I live out here in Northeast Colorado in Brush. Is there anybody around here that picks up and pays for vehicles that are junked?
Out in Brush,
I think you just leave them on the side of the road.
They call it
code enforcement.
Yeah, Brush is pretty far. I do have a gentleman that I could get in touch with you.
And I do too, if John does. And I tell you what, Ken, send me an email.
Okay.
And you can go to the website, drive-radio.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Ken. Appreciate the phone call. Great question, by the way. That's something we never talk about here.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the first time in 10 years I've talked about what do you do with an old wrecked car that you don't need anymore.
My friend will go around, he'll pay you cash, depending on the vehicles.
Because he knows the weight and stuff of it.
Yep, and he has it on the spot. The car is gone. I mean, because if you donate a car, now you got to pay for a tow to get it there. A lot of them, they don't come pick it up.
Right.
Or some of them, they come and pick them up.
And they won't probably do anything. They're not probably not going to go to brush. That's probably the other thing that Ken's running into. So
yeah.
All right, guys. With that, let's take a quick break. We'll go to the news. We're going to come right back. One more hour of Drive Radio. Appreciate everybody that's been listening to us today. And again, don't go away. We're going to be right back right after the news. Top of the hour. John Rush, your host, KLZ 560.
A lot of money coming here. They're wasting all my time. Cause when you're still so near, I gotta lose my mind. It's not perfect match well. It's all I really see your hair. And I don't mind you coming here.
Still haven't had enough? Go to drive-radio.com. Email your questions and comments. Download previous programs and find lots of useful information, including your nearest Colorado Select Auto Care Center. That's drive-radio.com. Thanks for listening to Drive Radio, sponsored by the member shops of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers on KLZ 560.
Drive Radio is a presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. The independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select hold each other accountable for the highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that choosing a mechanic is risky business, so Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers heard on Drive Radio, and you'll immediately see the difference. For a complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com.
Wow, the election season is finally complete. No more door knocking, phone banking, or endless interruptions of your favorite shows with those crazy political ads. Enjoy the silence, rest a couple of days. You deserve it. An astounding number of non-political folks responded to the fire in their bellies, telling them their only hope of saving their country, their state, and their very own family security jumped in full force. And some are now asking, now what? I'll tell you what. Rest one more day and then hop to it again. Never stop, never let up. Keep the pressure on your elected officials. Join me, Molly Vogt, and my fellow Americhick, Kim Munson, this Sunday, as we speak to several local grassroots groups you may want to join to stay involved. I'm sure there's a perfect one for you. The fight for liberty requires a constant force. Together we can do this. Tune in Sunday from 4 to 6.
Heart of the Matter with Kim and Molly, the Americhicks, Sunday afternoons at 4 on KLZ 560.
Freedom, liberty, truth. KLZ AM 560, KLZ HD Denver. Listen live at KLZ560radio.com. KLZ 560.
This is the Blaze Radio News. I'm Brad James. This just into the Blaze. North Korea releasing 2 American citizens, Kenneth Bay and Matthew Todd Miller. Bay and Miller were the last Americans held by North Korea. Miller is from California, was serving a 6-year jail term on charges of espionage. Bay, who's from Washington State, is a Korean-American missionary with health problems. He was serving a 15-year sentence for alleged anti-government activities.
And I couldn't be prouder that today I can announce somebody who shares that fierce commitment to equal justice under the law as my nominee for the next Attorney General, U.S. Attorney Loretta Lynch.
After giving accolades to the outgoing U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder, President Obama announcing his nomination, Loretta Lynch, to replace Holder as Attorney General.
I could not be more confident that Loretta will bring her signature intelligence and passion and commitment to our key priorities.
This is news on the Blaze Radio Network.
Everyone is making a switch to the Blaze to make it their source for the truth. Why not make it your source for the truth? Make theblaze.com your homepage for news that the other outlets won't even touch. Subscribe to The Blaze TV at theblaze.com/TV or on Dish Network and get access to original programming like For the Record, the show that exposes what's really going on that the government doesn't want you to know. And Real News, the daily conversation on the topics of the day that matter most. Check out the Blaze Radio Network at theblaze.com/radio with original shows like Fuck Sexting, The Morning Blaze with Doc Thompson, Pat and Stu, and Jay Severin. Or if you need something to hold in your hands, subscribe to the Blaze magazine. So basically, anywhere you need to go, you can take the truth with you by taking the Blaze with you. This is the Blaze. Truth lives here. So just to recap, anywhere you need to go, you can take the truth with you by taking the Blaze with you. Find out all the ways at theblaze.com.
You've been listening to the Blaze Radio News on KOZ 560. Randy Corcoran at 5, Laura Ingram at 8, Monday morning on KLZ 560.
It's a mighty fancy automobile. Oh, she's a real road king, all right. 0 to 60, 7.5. You do a quarter mile, 13.40. 390 horsepower, 500 foot-pounds. Whatever that is. Performance limited, is what it's all about.
There's no such thing as a stupid question. This is Drive Radio. All of your automotive questions are just one phone call away. 303-477-5600. Drive Radio is made possible by the member shops of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. To find one near you, go to drive-radio.com. Now, Drive Radio on KLZ 560.
And this is Drive Radio, KLZ 560. I'm your host, John Rush, along with Isaac Bouchard, our local broker, and Kurt Anderson from Anderson's over in the West Colfax area, and John Glossick from Gino. So, guys, thanks so much for coming in. We appreciate it. We have lines open. Doesn't happen this often. So, all of you that are out eating lunch, stop eating real quick. Call us. We'll get your questions answered. 303-477-5600. We'd love to chat with you again. 303-477-5600. I did get an announcement that got popped in here by Randy Corcoran, our morning show host here on KLZ. He's on from 5 to 8 a.m. every morning, and there is a Independent Institute's Senior Fellow in Constitutional Jurisprudence. I'm not even saying that right.
Jurisprudence.
There we go. Jurisprudence. Dr. Rob Nadelson on the Constitution is the topic of his discussion November 13th. That'll be this Thursday night, 7 p.m. Majestic View Church out in Kiowa. So join Rob Nadelson. And by the way, he's on KLZ quite often in the evenings. Great individual. I've met him personally. Fantastic. He is one of the smartest individuals on the Constitution, what it means, where we've come as far as how far we've come from it, etc. He is awesome. He is well worth listening to, so I'll plug that. That's well worth a plug even on Drive Radio. So go out there and see Dr. Rob Nadelson on the Constitution, November 13th, 7 p.m. Majestic View Church out in Kiowa. All right, let's go right to the phones. A couple lines open, 303-477-5600. Thorne and Parker, what's going on?
Hey, just want to start by telling you how much I always appreciate your show. I learned stuff that I don't even learn, but it's always interesting.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
I've talked to you guys before. I've got a Dodge Ram Mega Cab 2008 model with a big diesel and transmission. The engine's got 237,000 miles on it and almost problem-free. But it started as I start the vehicle, and when I'm first driving out in the morning, the transmission doesn't fully engage. And I found that if I let it sit and idle for a couple of minutes, it seems like some kind of pressure or fluid problem. Once it's warm, it never happens, but it's got initial start after it's been sitting overnight. Does that sound like anything you can draw any conclusions from? Or
when was the last time you changed the transmission filter, Thorne?
Probably over the recommended service interval, but it's been done around 45 or 50,000 miles ever since the truck was new.
Okay. And I missed mileage on it. I apologize. I was reading my notes. What miles are on it now, Thorne?
237,000.
Has anything been done to the transmission itself in that amount of time?
No. In the first 2 or 3 years, I put tons of miles on it. I put 65,000 miles on it the first year. recently it's not driven 200 miles a week.
Got it.
So
I think that's an Allison unit in that.
Yeah.
It might.
108.
Yeah.
The weak, and as you know, Thorne, the weak link in that whole truck is the transmission.
Yeah.
They make so much torque, so much power. The truck's heavy, and quite honestly, they just did not put a heavy enough transmission in that truck from the get-go. Now, I say that it's got 237,000, so that's not bad, but it's not like the Allison behind a Duramax that'll run 400,000 miles without ever touching it. It's not the same transmission.
Okay.
I would almost, first things first, I would get that into Extreme Mountain Parker, stop in, see the guys out there, see if they can do any diagnosis of it, find out what's going on. My gut feeling is if it's not transmission itself internal related, I will be surprised.
Okay, and what's the name of the shop?
Extreme Auto Repair. They're off of Dransfeld, 10274 South Dransfeld Road.
Yeah, they're over there by the police.
You got it. You got it. Go in there, talk to Dennis and the guys, and they can take a peek at it.
Okay. One other question, if I could.
Sure, you're fine. Go ahead.
I had a little low-speed fender bender where a woman caught the left rear corner of the bed of my truck,
Okay.
and the right front of her vehicle made a big bad scar on my stock OEM wheel.
Okay.
I don't care about the wheel. I know how to get it reconditioned, but I'm concerned about whether I don't feel any difference in the way it drives. But how do I go about checking to know if that axle got tweaked?
Have them do a four-wheel alignment on it, and it'll tell you whether that axle's out of whack at all. They put the heads on it, and they can check it and see what the thrust angles are doing, and it's real easy.
Yeah.
Okay, and Extreme's equipped.
Yep, they can do all that.
Yep.
Great. All right, that's all. I got more questions, but I won't wear out my welcome.
Oh, you're fine, Thorne. Thank you for calling. Thanks for calling. Thanks for listening. We appreciate the support. One line open, 303-477-5600. Cleo, you're up next. Cleo, welcome to Drive Radio.
Hi, how are you this
Doing
afternoon?
great. How are you doing?
Fantastic. It's beautiful weather.
Yes, it is, for another couple of days.
It is. I have roughly two questions, possibly a third.
Sure.
That you've already covered this morning, but I kind of came in on the tail end.
You're fine. No problem.
In regards to oil, I have two cars. I have a 2005 Infiniti G35X, and then I've got a 2006, and I have a 2005 Acura TSX. And the TSX I've been putting regular oil in, and the Infiniti I've been putting the synthetic oil in. The question is, can I go to synthetic with the TSX?
Yes.
And do you recommend changing can I go to every 6 months on both of them?
You're driving 6,000 to 8,000 miles every 6 months?
Yeah, roughly.
If it's not,
we don't drive that much.
If you're not doing over that, then most definitely you can go 6 months on an oil change very easly.
Yeah.
And run full synthetic. And I would run full synthetic in the TSX also.
Yeah, Acura loves synthetic oil.
Every car loves synthetic oil.
Well, there's a caveat to that. Cars back in the day, if you did it when the car was new, if it wasn't designed for it, the rings would never seat. Gentleman I used to race with, that happened to his Mazda.
Yep.
He put it in at 1,000 miles. The car's not designed for those, and because there's very little wear once you start running synthetic oil, the rings never properly.
Yeah, that's not even true anymore. So not a big deal.
So go to synthetic for the TSX. Change it every 6 months.
Yeah, you'd be fine. Now, the caveat is, we talked about this last week, make sure you're using, this everybody else that we've talked about this with today, make sure you use a high-quality oil filter. What I mean by that is either Napa's Gold or Napa's Platinum filter or anybody else's brand. Just make sure that it's a high-quality, top-of-the-line filter. Don't go to Walmart and buy the cheap orange filter and then expect to get 6,000 miles out of it. It's not the same.
Okay. Well, I usually have a Grease Monkey dealer, so.
And they're not going to be using a high quality oil filter. No offense, but they don't. They use an oil filter that costs about $2.
And can I speak to that? Can I speak to that?
Sure.
I've had a dozen. I've been a broker 23 years. I've had a dozen horror stories of people going to specifically one of two places, Grease Monkey or Brakes Plus, and having problems with such things as the Grease Monkey strips threads on the drain plug or doesn't put the oil filter on right, and 500 miles or even an hour later they puke oil all over the place, seize their engine, and then they are in a lawsuit. And every time these companies have big lawyers that they can bring to bear, and they fight you tooth and nail and say it wasn't their fault.
Yes.
So if there's two places I never want my customers going, it's those two.
Yep. With their business model or the people that are running those are saying that they're bad guys and bad business, etc. It's just the quality of the technician that you're employing to do that work versus what's inside of our Colorado Select facilities that we have on air with us.
Yes.
That's the difference.
For Colorado Select.
Yes, you would be, you need to go. And so in Highlands Ranch, John, give them your address.
Yep. Just go down 470 to north on Santa Fe, take a left on Bowles. It's 3593 West Bowles Avenue, Littleton.
And John's the guy you're going to talk to when you walk in the front door.
I'm the face you're going to see, whether you like it or not.
What's the name of the facility? I'm sorry.
Geno's Auto Service.
Geno's.
Jenos.
Great. Okay.
All right.
Good. I will see you then.
All right, Cleo.
So the other question I had,
Sure, go right ahead. No, you're fine.
But the question is, how do you identify if you've got a CV joint that's going out on the Infinity?
Well, on
a car.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, yeah, vibration, noise.
A lot of times when you're parking lot, you hear somebody pulling into a spot, you hear a really loud, fast clicking noise.
Yeah.
That car definitely's got an axle, a CV joint that's going out of it. The other thing that can affect cars is, and we talked about this earlier during one of our breaks, you guys didn't hear us on air, but when a car starts to drive funny and not steer correctly, that can also be a sign of a bad axle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, what I mean by that is they can pull, not feel right, feel heavy in the steering wheel is probably a better way to describe that. Vibrations, things like that. Yeah.
Your test that they taught me in 1991 on how to appraise a car was you go to the parking lot, you turn the steering wheel to full lock,
right,
and then you just accelerate in first gear 5 miles an hour, and you'll hear the clicking or not, and then you flip the wheel 180 degrees the other way to the other thing, and that'll tell you about your fronts.
Yeah.
Yep, it's definitely. That's how you do it.
Okay, great.
Yep.
One last question.
Sure. No, right. Go ahead.
So, looking for something that under $15,000, but would like to have a third row seat.
That's Isaac. There you go.
And not a minivan.
I've actually got the car for you right now, and I might be taking in another one. But one of the better SUVs made of that price range that you're describing was the Honda Pilot and its twin, the Acura MDX, are built in the same factory.
Yep.
And they had one major failing, 2002 to 2005, as the transmissions would not hold up.
Yeah.
And then 2005, they changed, I think, clutch packs or something was changed in the design, and they're okay after that pretty much.
And the planetaries.
Okay. And then typically when somebody has the transmission rebuilt, they update it, don't they?
They do.
So guess what I have? I have a nice 03, two-owner, only 105 or so thousand miles, and the transmission was done with it.
So you're in good
2-year
shape.
warranty on it, and that's $10,450. It's a wonderful vehicle. And then I had a girl call me the other day and wants me to sell her 2005 or 2006, same vehicle. So I love those Acura MDXs as long as the transmission's done and as long as they've had a full timing belt service, which is not just a timing belt.
Yep.
Thank you, Isaac. I would.
If you want to call me during the week,
So it's not
call
like
me today or
Cleo,
Monday.
he's got 2 cars that he can sell you.
Yeah, I don't even have one of them yet. But the second one, the gal's moving to New York, doesn't need a car, and said, "Will you help
There you
me
go.
sell my Acura MDX?" $155-1462.
Okay, great.
Thanks, Cleo. You bet. Appreciate it very much. Yeah, and actually, I drove, believe it or not, I have never driven too many Acuras. In all the years of doing the press cars, et cetera, 6+ years, never driven an Acura till this last week.
They're decent cars.
There's actually
They're really
I
decent
like
cars.
them.
drove the MDX, which is the 2015 MDX. Really like that car a lot. It actually works extremely well. Love the configuration inside. And I did not realize until I did research, best-selling 3-row SUV on the market, which I did not know.
For premium sector.
Correct. Yeah. Luxury SUV. Yeah. Which I did not. I thought there'd be other vehicles.
No, Lexus is, and everybody's missed that target,
They
right?
have.
And RX is
The
the
third
third
seat.
passenger. That's right. Infinity's trying to hit it with that new one. I think they call it, they renamed everything, QX60.
Yeah.
And that is a gussied up Pathfinder. And it's not a bad vehicle at all, but a lot of us are unhappy with it. Guess what? CVT transmission.
Yeah.
No, MDX, great vehicle. So yeah, Cleo, give Isaac a call. By the way, let's go to a quick break. We'll come right back. One line open, 303-477-5600. John and Cheyenne with the Durango, hang tight. And Brian and Golden, you've got a light problem on your Silverado. Hang with us. We'll be right back on Drive Radio. John Rush, your host, KLZ 560.
Hunting down that hard-to-find part for an out-of-the-ordinary car can be quite a time-consuming chore. Unless, of course, you just go around the corner to your local Napa Auto Parts store, where we have over 310,000 parts, all of them made to fit and perform just like the original. Yeah, there are people who say it's the journey and not the destination, but those people have never tried to find an alternator for an 82 Fiat on a Saturday. Go to NapaOnline.com for the location nearest you. Napa, get the good stuff.
Do you love things that require gas or diesel fuel to run? Do you need a job? Or are you just looking for a change? Napa Auto Parts is looking for delivery drivers and salespeople in all locations in the Denver metro area. If you have experience in the industry, that helps, but it is not mandatory. Please go to NapaAutoJobs.com. Again, that's NapaAutoJobs.com and fill out the application. Please mention Drive Radio on that application, Napa Auto Parts, an equal opportunity employer.
After 30 years of business, Gino's Auto Service is expanding. Hi, this is Jennifer, and my dad owns Gino's Auto Service in Littleton. What does our expansion mean for you? Savings on all our repair and maintenance services. We work on all makes and models, and your satisfaction is always guaranteed. At Gino's, we use genuine Napa parts and are AAA approved. Stop by and see the transformation at Bowles and Platte Canyon, or visit us online at Gino'sAutoservice.com. That's Gino'sAutoservice.com.
Armada West Auto wants to help you get the best fuel mileage you can. Approximately 3.5 million gallons of gas a day are lost due to underinflated tires. There are many things we can do to help you boost your fuel mileage, and most of it comes down to basic maintenance. No one likes to spend money on unplanned repairs, but Armada West Auto and Truck do what they do best. Keep your vehicles running at peak performance. From tune-ups to wheel alignments, they've got you covered with a 3-year or 36,000-mile warranty on most cars. On the web, visit ArmadaWestAutoandTruck.com or call 303-422-1065. Armada West Auto and Truck, where every question is important. Located on West 64th Avenue between Ward Road and Sims.
Ever try to buy an air filter and get lost in catalogs and vehicle descriptions? Well, let's visit KNFilters.com. We'll show you the filter that fits your car. It's never been easier to buy a K&N, the filter that helps your car run better.
All right, we are back. John Rush, your host, KLZ 560 Drive Radio. Let me clear some. No longer on today's oil changes versus the old oil changes we had, let's say, even 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. The answer to that synthetic oil being used in a lot of new cars even coming out today. And then, of course, we can put synthetic oil in virtually anything on the road today. And the realization is why we recommend that, a lot of people that have called in today, I've said, get it changed every 6 months if you're driving, 6,000 to 7,000 miles in 6 months. I still think a car needs looked at a couple times a year. Could you run, in some cases, 8, 9, 10,000 miles on an oil change? Depends on the driver, depends on the vehicle, depends on the filter, depends on the oil you use. The answer is yes. It's just hard to make a blanket statement that says go run 10,000 miles. But in today's modern world, can you? You sure can. If all of the if everything is right, all the parameters are right, can you go that long? You sure can, because that's how far we've come with oil, filters, metallurgy in the engines, on we go. Direct injection, there's not as much fuel wash as they used to be. Fuel injection alone has created this longevity of oil changes that didn't exist even 10 years ago. Fuel injection was good. It is so much better today than it was 10 years ago. And 20 years ago, when fuel injection was first coming out, it's complete. I don't even want to, there's no way to describe it. It's totally different.
It was amazing when it came out for its time.
Correct. Yeah. And today it's even that much more amazing with direct injection. My biggest point is we just don't have the oil contamination that we used to have. In the old days with the carburetor, you had so much cylinder wash. Yes, you needed to change oil every 3 months, 3,000 miles, because that's the way it was made. Yeah. That's not the case. So my point is, if you hear anybody else on air, on TV, in a repair shop, anywhere else on a modern vehicle, 2000 and newer, for example, that's 14 years ago now. If anybody tells you, yep, you got to change oil every 3 months or 3,000 miles, go somewhere else. They're lying to you, because that's not true. Unless there's something unique to your vehicle don't listen to them. Turn off the radio. Don't watch that TV station because you're talking to somebody that doesn't know a modern automotive vehicle. Guys, you agree or disagree?
I agree on a modern car.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, again, you start looking at, 99, 98 and older. Some things can start to change. And yeah, we're getting more unique. But if you're driving something that's a 2005, 6, 7, 10, 11, 12, whatever, and somebody says, yep, you need an oil change every 3 months, 3,000 miles.
Yeah,
they're lying to you.
All my customers before the year 2000, I still have, and if they opt for the conventional oil change, at our discount, I do recommend 3 months, 3,000 miles, just because of that's a configuration. But cars today, I mean, BMW, they're on Mercedes-Benz are on a 10,000 mile synthetic oil change interval.
BMW is longer, it's variable, but on our last 2, 3, 35s, it was typically once a year or every 12 to 14,000 miles on a turbo.
Yeah,
with full synthetic.
Yeah, which is crazy though.
All right, let's go to Brian, who's up next. Brian, welcome to Drive Radio. What's going on?
Hey guys, quick question. I have a 2005 Chevy Silverado, and about 6 months ago, when I drive it at night, I mean, every light, my headlights, my tail lights, my speedometer lights, everything just flickers. So I'm driving a pinball machine.
Replace the headlight switch on that vehicle.
Just the headlight switch?
Yeah, the only reason I say this is because I own a fleet. We have several of those in the fleet. That's a very common problem on that. It's an easy thing to fix and eliminate out of the equation. You could do that yourself and then see if it fixes it. If it does, you're fixed. If not, then go to the repair shop and have them start looking through the process. But that one's a very known common problem on that vehicle.
And the other thing is, just like when I'm driving the vehicle, my voltage gauge, I mean, that thing bounces around. I mean,
That's common also. It won't cure that.
No.
Okay.
That's a normal. I don't know why those had such a problem with the voltmeter doing that, but they bounce all over the place. Some of them would even run. They'd show that they're charging 15, 16 volts when in actuality they're not. They're just flaky that way. But the headlight switch on that particular vehicle is very, very known for being bad and causing the exact problem you've got.
Well, that sounds perfect. Guys, I appreciate it. Let's go.
You're very welcome, Brian. Thanks for calling in. We appreciate it very much. One line open is all 303-477-5600. John and Cheyenne, you're like the third or fourth Wyoming call today. Appreciate you guys up there. What's going on?
Well, my wife's got a 2000 Durango, and a couple of months ago, she had a power steering leak. Took it in. They said the rack was leaking.
Mm-hmm.
They replaced the rack and did the service. And the technician screwed up and did not tighten the lug nuts on the left front tire.
Okay.
Which came off while she was driving it on the interstate.
Okay.
She didn't get hurt or anything. We had it towed in. Yeah, that was the key. But we got hurt. It was middle of the night, so there was nobody on the road, which is always good to save.
Yeah, that's good.
We took it in. They made all the repairs. They rebuilt the left front. They put a new hub, a new rotors, everything.
Okay.
2 months later, the front differential starts knocking. She takes it in, said the front diff is gone. Just a question, could that have been caused by that tire coming off?
Why did the diff go out, or did they say?
They didn't say.
Was it bearings or gears on there, John?
I don't know, but I can find out.
That'd be the thing to ask. About the only thing that would cause that to go out in that accident of the wheel falling off is if the tube or something along those lines got tweaked or bent. Typically speaking, what you had happen would not have caused damage to the front axle.
No. And I know for a fact, because I've owned Chrysler products, those front differentials need that oil change every 15,000 miles. It's only about it's only 1.75 quarts of oil. That's not a lot, and that stuff breaks down.
Hondas are the same way. CRV, rear differentials, and MDX and Pilot, and all those are finding the same thing.
Yep. Yeah, they've got to be service regulated. So it could very well just have been a lack of service, John, as much as anything.
Yeah, and I guess I'll take the hit for that because I didn't realize they needed to be serviced.
Yes, they do.
Yep.
And then
Hands
we
down.
replaced the rear diff in this thing about 15,000
And that's
miles.
another one that needs done. And Chrysler will tell you that needs done every 25, 30,000 miles.
Yeah, and John, in all seriousness, whatever shop regularly services your vehicle, have them put you on a service interval where every 15,000 miles they're pulling the drain plugs, and check your transfer case because you don't. It sounds like you're doing
either.
Yeah, you did your rear diff. Now you're going to rebuild your front diff. Guess what's going to be next? Probably your transfer case.
The transfer went out at 185,000 miles, and we had it replaced.
There you go.
John, start checking your oil.
Ain't no clutching it.
And I had done that. I don't know what happened. It didn't get out. It didn't change from four-wheel to two-wheel drive right.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, as we was driving down the road, I heard a loud bang and let parts of it on the road.
$75 where you're at per gearbox. I recommend to do them all at once every 15,000 miles. That way you're not flipping through a stack of service records like, oh, when was the last time I did this? If you do that, like changing your oil every 15,000 miles, and I know for a fact that Chrysler's, those differentials and transfer cases were
Okay, I ask one more
question. Sure, go ahead.
Chrysler's. I have a 2011 Ram.
Okay.
Four-wheel drive. Same interval for those transfers and transfer and those
half ton or 3/4 ton?
Half ton.
Half ton. Yeah, you can go a little longer because they're a little heavier, but pretty close to what John's saying would work for that truck also.
Yeah, I usually recommend 20,000 miles for those vehicles.
Okay, and last thing I want to just thank you because a week ago the battery wouldn't start in that 2011, 4 years old. I jumped it, it ran, and then it won't hold the charge more than about 18 hours, so I got to replace the battery.
The battery. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing I'm worried about is that I also had I live in the middle of nowhere. And I had a critter under the hood. I got rid of him, but I'm wondering if he chewed on a wire.
Let's hope not.
Yeah.
I won't tell him my story again.
Those critters are bad.
Oh, I've had it happen before. Here's a trick for everybody. Take 2 ounces of peppermint oil, cayenne pepper, 6 ounces of water, mix it up, boil it, put it in a spray bottle, and spray it under your hood, and the critters won't come back.
Give me that recipe again.
All right. 2 ounces of peppermint oil, you can get it in the health food store. 2 teaspoons of cayenne pepper and 6 ounces of water, and bring it to a boil, and then let it cool and put it in a spray bottle and just spray everything under the hood. And they have not come back since.
Interesting. I will pass that along. We'll probably put that as a tip on our website.
I found that on the internet on how to keep mice out of your crawl space.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that. That's a good tip. We get people this time of year always looking for critter control, so we'll do that.
And plus your underhood will smell refreshed.
Yeah. And the other thing is it makes the truck smell nice.
Yeah, there you go. John, thanks so much for calling. Appreciate it. Keep safe up there in Cheyenne. Let's go. I tell you what, we're up against a break. Let's take a quick break. Dennis in Denver, hang with us on your front end part question. We'll be right back with you. And Eric's got to follow up on a past caller. You guys hang tight. One line open. 303-477-5600. John Rush, host, KLZ 560.
Have you failed an emissions test and don't know what to do? Have you been trying to fix it yourself? Arvada West is your answer. We score 100% on our success ratio. That's confidence for the customer. We are always willing to explain the repair process to you. We use a proven diagnostic format that we have developed since the emissions program began here in Colorado. For an honest, understandable, and reasonably priced diagnosis, stop by and see us. We've helped clean our Colorado air since 1981. Call Arvada West Auto and Truck 303-422-1065 or see us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com. If you would like to stop by to make an appointment, we are at 11752 West 64th Avenue.
At Napa Auto Parts, we've been the most trusted name in auto parts for over 80 years. Probably because we've never stopped looking for ways to make the great parts we sell even better. It's the commitment to quality you'll find in every one of our 310,000 parts. From the bacteria-killing surface in our cabin air filters, to the patented damping mechanism in our drive-line belt tensioners, to our revolutionary new adaptive one brakes. And Napa parts are covered by a warranty that's good at any of our 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores nationwide. Yeah, maybe you don't get this at your average auto parts store, but at Napa, we've spent the last 80 years making sure we were anything but average. To find the Napa Auto Parts store nearest you, go to NapaOnline.com. Napa, get the good stuff.
With over 125 locations in Colorado, southern Wyoming, and western Nebraska, there's only one place to get the good stuff: Napa Auto Parts.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants from their vehicle. Regardless of make or model, you want your vehicle to take you where you need to go. Reliability is exactly what the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers offer. They set the standard for excellence in automotive repair and maintenance. Each member offers Napa Auto Care Peace of Mind warranty, along with the highest level of customer service and integrity. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you,
log on to drive-radio.com or call 303-546-NAPA.
Do you love things that require gas or diesel fuel to run? Do you need a job? Are you just looking for a change? Napa Auto Parts is looking for delivery drivers and salespeople in all locations in the Denver metro area. If you have experience in the industry, that helps, but it is not mandatory. Please go to NapaAutoJobs.com. Again, that's NapaAutoJobs.com and fill out the application. Please mention Drive Radio on that application. Napa Auto Parts, an equal opportunity employer. All right, John Rush, host KLZ 560 Drive Radio, along with Isaac Bouchard, our local broker, Kurt Anderson from Anderson's, and John from Geno's. Appreciate you guys very much coming in. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Great show. Half hour left is all. Let's go right to the phones. Dennis is up next. Dennis, welcome.
Oh, yes. The other day I was online just checking some prices on some front-end parts because I'm in the process of rebuilding my lower control arms for my Monte Carlo, and I just noticing on a ball joint, they have like about a $20 ball joint and one for $50-some. I was just wondering what the difference is.
Major differences, especially on ball joints. Frankly, I would not buy a ball joint over the internet if it were me. I would go down to your local Napa store, buy their highest quality ball joint made for that vehicle, and use that one.
Yeah.
Reason being, you've got a much, much better product. You got a much better warranty, so if something ever did happen with that ball joint, you got somebody that'll stand behind it, or somebody on the internet, you have no clue how that's going to work, and there is a huge difference in the quality of a ball joint.
Yeah, Dennis, actually, like John was just referring to Napa, the Napa chassis part, and also AC Delco makes these ball joints as well, but I saw a cutaway of these, and the actual stem of the ball joint is billet steel, and it has a Teflon coating around the ball. And then also a lot of these ball joints, when they come from the factory, are not greasable. Napa's premium ball joints have a grease zerk. They added in there so you can grease them, and they last a little longer.
Yep. If you look at the cutaway of a good ball joint versus a bad ball joint, to what John was just saying, he explained what a good one's supposed to look like. I've seen bad cutaways where it's literally steel to steel. There's no Teflon in there. It's pot material instead of a good solid billet material. There's a huge difference in the quality of a ball joint.
It could wear out in 12,000 miles.
And by the way, I don't believe, unless somebody in the room knows this, I don't think there's any government federal standard on what quality that ball joint has to be to install it into your vehicle. In other words, there's nobody checking to see what that ball joint's like you're going to put in your vehicle and risk your safety on.
That's why it says made in China on it.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, so you're saying the difference between you're finding ball joints for $20 and ball joints for $50. So
$30.
$30 is that
$60 on total. It's not much.
Yeah.
Do you want to do ball joints on your Monte Carlo again very soon?
That's a good question.
Any certain brands to stay away from, like some of the brands I notice are Value Craft, Duralast,
Hong Fu.
Yeah. Anything with value in the word.
It means just like I say, Dennis, and I don't say this because Napa is one of our sponsors, but literally just drive down to Napa, have them show you what their premium ball joint for your vehicle is. Have them just hand it. They'll stock it. Just have them hand it to you over the counter. Look at it, and you'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And you'll leave there buying that ball joint.
Yeah.
I think Master Pro was another one. And
Master Pro.
Yeah, I would not. And again, I'm a big one on the suspension side of things. I don't buy anything from Napa that's not their highest quality one that they sell.
Yeah.
I see. And as far as the bushings, they're all pretty close in price.
Bushings are going to be different because there's not a lot you can do different on the bushings, although there is a difference in the rubber quality. And again, Napa sells all those parts also, and they're going to be very competitive with what you're finding online.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And one other quick question.
Sure.
Like on the recent drop in oil prices, why isn't that reflected in the price of, say, antifreeze? I went to buy
because coolant doesn't come out of oil.
Uh-huh. So just the jump, the big jump I noticed.
Coolant. Two different things going on there with coolant versus oil.
Mm-hmm. I see.
The thing that we're going to get, jumps in prices on with the price of oil is, plastics, tires, of course, vinyl components, oil itself, gasoline, diesel fuel, All those things are, and then of course, what people don't really realize is it also affects the everyday price of goods, including groceries, because there's a transportation cost getting all of those things to the store.
And as far as motor oil, that kind of the state.
Yes, it has an effect on it, direct effect on it.
Okay.
All right, Dennis?
Well, thank you.
You bet. You appreciate the phone call. And yeah, we don't talk about that enough, guys. When the price of oil changes, it's just not what's at the pump that you see having an effect on everything.
Oh, it's everything.
It's everything.
Shipping costs, all kinds of things. People don't
Heating their homes back east, which we don't do much out here, but on the East Coast, they heat homes with it. I mean, fuel oil. There are so many different things. The whole transportation industry runs off of oil. We use a ton as a country on a daily basis. Eric, welcome. What's going on today?
Hey, you had a caller about an hour ago for replacing people for his girlfriend's Cobalt.
Yes.
And one of the cars you guys suggested was the Chevy Cruze. And it cross-reference with that. Look also at like the Buick Verona, which is basically just a little bit more luxurious version of the Cruze. And our package about the same. We've got one, so I decided to buy it there. We had it for about 9 months. And my wife at first didn't want it, and
Answer this better. Can you pick up a decent Verano in that 15K range or so?
Well, the Verano came out a year or two later, and
it came out in 2012.
Yeah.
I
don't know. Buick sells so poorly.
What'd you pay for yours, Eric?
We paid $21,200 for ours. It was a 2013, so we bought it in March 2014.
Okay.
And there are still a few 2013 floating around, and I've seen a few, here and there for say in the 17,000 range.
So you're getting closer.
Yeah, we've got the 2.4 in there, and then you've also got a 2-liter turbo. And the mileage, it's odd that the 2.4 supposedly gets better mileage than the 2-liter turbo. But
at our elevation, that's probably not all true. The turbo at our elevation probably will do as well.
But we're getting, my wife drives 6 miles a day with the car round trip, and we're getting a consistent 21 to
That's good.
21
Good
to
for you.
22. And we haven't taken it on the highway at what kind of mileage. So,
Yeah, typically the cruises even around town will be in the upper 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's, like I said, with her short little gun, she's only getting like 21 miles an hour.
Right.
And, it seems to be a really nice car. We've had zero complaints with it. My issue would have been more with the dealers there than anything else. And
That's why we've got Isaac here. So, hey, appreciate it, Eric. We got to go to the next caller. Let's run to Ed real quick. Ed, what's going on?
Oh, hi. I've got a 97 Dodge pickup truck with a 5.2 gasoline engine.
Okay.
And I had a diagnostic trouble code. It was P0441. It's the VAP purge flow control.
Okay.
So I was just doing some basic checks, making sure the vacuum lines and the VAP lines were all connected and everything. And the first thing I noticed was charcoal pellets in the lines.
Not good.
Nope.
Not good. And then I also noticed that the solenoid was stuck open, not energized by the computer, just all by itself stuck open. Yeah. So I replaced the solenoid. I replaced the canister. I blew out the vacuum lines, both from the manifold to the solenoid, from the solenoid to the canister. I blew out the evap line from the canister to the tank. While I was in there, I changed the rollover check valve, and just because while I was in there, I put a fuel pump in. It's got 100,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
And made sure that so there's also a fresh air vent hose that runs from the canister up along the frame and under the hood. I blew that out, made sure it was clear. Checked power to the solenoid. It was good, and then I disconnected the harness from the computer and made sure the control side line wasn't grounded. Put it all back together, and much to my surprise, the check engine light turned itself off right away. I didn't go through a drive cycle or anything like that. It lasted about a week, and the check engine light came back on. Sure enough, I pulled the hoses off, and it had stuck the carbon pellets out of the canister again. Now, I don't have a scope, but I put a digital voltmeter on the control side, and when the scanner says it's about 100% duty cycle, I can see the digital voltmeter kind of change in value. It gets closer to 11 volts.
Real quick, Ed, I'm going to actually put you on hold for just a minute. I'm going to let John run around to the other side of the room here and talk to you off air, because no offense, we're getting so technical that everybody else listening is not going to have any clue what we're talking about. It's a great question. John can answer it. Hang with us. I'm going to send him around right after this break. So we're going to run right to the break. So Ed, don't go away. We'll have John come around on the other side of the glass and answer that question off air. Fred from Lakewood, what's going on?
Hi. Years ago, I had a little ding in my windshield and paid a technician to repair it. Okay. Now I see that I can buy a little kit at an auto parts store, do it myself.
Yep.
Does that stuff work?
No. Easy answer.
Okay.
No.
It's kind of like headlight polishing.
Yeah.
It takes a good hour to really polish up headlights, and they work great when we do it.
Yeah.
But the quickie rub on stuff, and it just doesn't work.
No. So you've got to spend about $300 to get a decent kit to actually have that work. Now, again, everybody sells it, Napa sells it, etc. Maybe there are certain instances where that works okay. Is it worth the money? I've never spent the money on one. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, those professionals, they know what they're doing.
$20 for what they charge to come out and do it. It's not worth messing with.
Nope.
All right, thank you.
You're very welcome. Appreciate the phone call. All right, let's take a quick break. We're going to send John around. He can talk to Ed during this break and get his questions answered. And we'll be back. One line open is all 303-477-5600. Drive Radio. John Rush Host, KLZ 560.
Need a one-stop auto repair solution in Boulder? At John's 4x4 Center, they service and maintain more than just 4x4s. From big trucks to diesel pickups, their team of service specialists and technicians have the computer diagnostics, tools, and expertise to service and repair any make or model. They combine their skills with integrity, giving you the best service in the industry. From preventative maintenance to major repairs, you can trust your vehicle to John's 4x4. Located on Arapahoe Road, just east of 63rd, behind Carpet One. They're open Monday through Friday, 7:30 until 5:30, with convenient shuttle service and after-hours drop. If you're ready to form a solid relationship with an auto repair shop, the new owners at John's 4x4 Center are committed to providing the personal and professional service you're looking for. Give them a call at 303-449-2640. Check them out on the web or follow them on Facebook at johns4x4.com.
Reliability. It's what every driver where you need to go. Reliability is exactly what the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers offer. They've set the standard for excellence in automotive repair and maintenance. Each member offers Napa Auto Care Peace of Mind warranty, along with the highest level of customer service and integrity. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you, log on to drive-radio.com or call 303-546-NAPA.
We've all been there. You run to the hood and suddenly realize you don't have the parts you need. Or even worse, you don't know what parts you need. Well, at Napa Auto Parts, we have ASE certified parts specialists that will make sure you find that right part. One covered by a warranty good at any one of 6,000 Napa locations. Yeah, finding the right part might not be easy, but fortunately, finding the right part store is. Go to NapaOnline.com for the location nearest you. Napa, get the good stuff.
Having transmission problems? Stop by Larry's Automotive today. We're your only Colorado Select Auto Care in North Denver that also specializes in automatic and manual transmissions. We're a family-owned small business taking care of your family-owned fleet of cars, trucks, and SUVs since 1994. We specialize in transmission and drivetrain problems and offer a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty. We're also an at coloradoselect.com. Larry's Automotive, a proud member of Colorado Select Auto Care.
24 seconds. I timed it. It took me just 24 seconds to find a AAA certified master mechanic who offers the best peace of mind warranty in the state. A 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on every repair. At coloradoselect.org, I search my city and boom, I'm done. Colorado Select Auto Care puts their member shops through a rigorous set of requirements, so I know no matter which shop I choose, I'll get the best auto repair service possible. That's 24 seconds well spent. coloradoselect.org.
All right, life in the fast lane. That's the way it is always here on Drive Radio. 3 hours of the best car talk radio in the country. I don't care what anybody says. We do it the best of anybody out there. Keep listening. Tell your friends, family, and anybody else out there. Have them tune in, and we will get your questions answered on cars, trucks, SUVs, boats, RTVs, ATVs. You name it, we'll handle it. We've even answered questions on scooters and the like. So you name it, we'll take those calls. Doesn't matter what it is, 303-477-5600. Up next, because I'll do this now because I'll forget as we get into the end of the show, Sportsman's of Colorado, Scott Watley and the crew. Today, they're going to talk about the sale and transfer of public lands with Tim Brass of Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, and also Lisa Thompson and Danelle Johnson with Hunt Data, maps for all hunting units in Colorado for your iPhone. And then Water Haven Outfitters owner Jim Arnold will also be on Sportsman's of Colorado. So stay tuned right after Drive Radio. Don't go away. Scott will be here. He'll take all your calls, questions, etc. And by the way, always has a fantastic show. Before we take our next caller, Isaac, have you driven anything cool lately?
I had 3 of the best weeks I've had.
So what'd you
all year? I had the new Stingray convertible. I had a long wheelbase Range Rover.
Me too. What'd you think of that car? Let's talk about that for a moment.
That car was really interesting. It rides much rougher than it should, and this was a conscious decision on Land Rover's part to make their cars ride rough, which I don't agree with. It handles like nobody's business. I mean, you can fling that thing through a set of corners and go to jail because you're doing 30 miles an hour over the speed limit. Totally unnecessary. I'd rather have the car ride well. Doesn't need to handle that well. All that said, it was an amazing vehicle.
Now, see, I just being the old truck guy that I am, I didn't notice the things Isaac noticed. I actually, for me, of course, I normally drive a 3/4 ton Chevy. It was awesome. Versatility of that car was great. The downside of that car for me, because it ran well, 500 plus horsepower, I think with 575 horsepower engine.
550 or
way up there. Anyways, the thing just flies, but it's $122,000.
Well, they can't make enough of them because there was this hole in the market that no one was in. Okay, there's no one making the equivalent of a Bentley 4-wheel drive. Bentley's coming out with one to compete. So Range Rover kept finding that they had $20,000 and $30,000 and $40,000 more headroom, that people don't want the Range Rover their neighbor has. They want a Range Rover that's got even more equipment. So that wasn't even the top of the line. The top of the line would be the Autobiography, which is another 20 or 30 grand. And they can't make enough of those.
That's interesting.
And then the top it all off was the same engine in a completely different car was the Jaguar F-Type R Coupe I had and just gave away. And the fact that I didn't go to jail when I had that car for a week is staggering to my imagination because I've never had such a sideways car in my life.
Yeah.
All that car wanted to do was go sideways.
Awesome.
Great car.
Unbelievable. Yeah, and I actually drove a Volvo S60. I told Isaac about that yesterday. That car works great too. It's a little turbocharged 2-liter engine, or supercharged / turbocharged 2-liter engine, which Kurt would know about. Car works well, handles well. I actually like Volvo very well. It's a fantastic car. For the longest time, it was the chick car, I guess you could say, quote unquote, the girl's car. That's kind of the way everybody kind of looked at it. A safety, the mom car, etc.
Thanks for telling me that. I've owned 9 of them.
Not anymore. They've really come around, and they are very masculine looking from what they used to be. Not that they were ever feminine looking, but you guys know what I'm saying. They have made the looks of the Volvo.
Well, they have one of the
more
great designers in the history of car design. Peter Horbury is their head designer, and he's what made that company and their cars look so good. He brought back the stuff from the 122 from the 60s and stuff and put those strong shoulders on there that are masculine.
It looks really good.
Huge wheels that are really kind of pimped out.
Yep. The car looks and runs great.
Did I miss the conversation on the new motor with the turbochargers?
Well, so they have, Volvo is only going to have one basic engine from here on out. It's 2-liter, and they'll offer it in all these different trims. It'll always be a 2-liter 4-cylinder, but they'll have, the basic motor will be turbocharged. Then they have a turbo and supercharged. And then we're going to have a turbocharged engine with another turbocharger that's run by an electric motor that spins up the big turbocharger, so there's no lag. That's not here yet, but it's coming next.
That's right. It's coming. They just I just read an article on it, and that is the neatest technology. If you can get absolutely, I mean, there's no such thing as free horsepower, but that is a freed up horsepower.
That's right.
It's less parasitic losses than a supercharger.
That's right. Very, very cool. So anyways, Volvo S60. By the way, watch all of our reviews. Isaac and I are going to team up here in the future and do some stuff together, but for the time being, all of my reviews are on Drive Radio YouTube's site. If you go to YouTube, search bar, type in Drive Radio, all one word. There's also a link on our website, Drive-Radio. You can watch all of them, and we're getting better. We're definitely not videographers and professionals that doing all of this. But hey, we just gave you the bare bones basics of what we think of the car and how it works and what we liked and didn't like, and have a lot of fun doing it. Mike in Westminster, what's going on?
How you doing, gentlemen?
Doing great. Welcome.
I have a real quick question about maintaining batteries over the winter.
Sure.
And I have a car that my wife used to drive. She's going on, can't do it anymore. So I don't use the car that much. But is there something that I can do to help keep the battery up to snuff? Because I can't put it in the garage.
Yes, you can still put a battery maintainer on the battery, and they make those in a couple of different options. If you're close enough where you can plug in, you can buy one at Napa for $25-30 that you plug in, call a battery tender, and it'll maintain the battery, and that works fine. The other option is there are some solar panel units that actually work fairly well also now, and made huge advancements on that side of the fence. So if you're someplace where there's not a plug-in close by, you can also do that. I would recommend plugging it in if you can, just because it's the best way to do it. But if not, the solar panel units work fine also.
Yeah, a couple options there. The solar panel technology, like John just said, that the solar panel battery tenders have come a long way. When they first came out, they weren't that great.
Pretty junk.
Yeah, but now they're pretty good. And let me also, I had a problem with a customer the other day, same issue, and they were wondering about keeping the battery tended over the winter time. I do it myself because I have two classic cars, and the difference between manual and automatic trickle chargers, make sure it is an automatic battery tender. You could have,
which, by the way, the actual name battery tender, which is a brand name, those are all automatic.
Yes.
Some of the other brands, to John's point, are not. So that's why I'm one that you make sure you're buying a specific tender, maintainer, not a charger, not a trickle
charger is the other.
Yeah, you don't want a trickle charger.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll go for the maintainer. I got it on the charger right now.
Yeah, buy maintainer. That's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And I can't do the solar thing because the car sits on the street, and I think that will disappear.
Oh, well, no, they actually plug in the cigarette lighter and go under the, they're right on the top of the dash, so it would stay there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Not that big a deal.
No, they're not. They work pretty well now compared to what they used to.
They don't have to sit on your roof anymore.
Nope. Yeah. Nope. All right, Mick. Appreciate it. We're going to get to a couple more calls here before we end the show. Let's go to Kevin, who's up next. Kevin, welcome. What's going on today?
I've been driving Rangers for like 20 years. I've got a 2004 Sturgis a lot of miles on.
Okay.
And it's an FX4. Got all the skid plates.
Got it.
I drive manuals. What's a good alternative to that? To today's market.
Well, there's really not.
There isn't any.
Okay, so here's what's going on: is the small mid-sized truck market was declining, so they started putting everybody in full-size trucks. And then just recently, because the Toyota Tacoma makes up 70% of all the smaller trucks,
GM jumped back in.
GM jumped back in. There's a new Colorado and a new GMC Canyon coming out. The new Tacoma will be out this coming year, and there'll be a new Nissan Frontier, which was accounting for 30% of the rest of the market. So Toyota and Nissan own the market right now, and they're both great trucks. They seem to go 200,000 miles, and the Nissan is about 3,000 less than the Toyota.
Yeah. The Nissan's the only one you can get with a manual on.
No, you can get either one, but so you can get either one with the manual. You'll almost never find them, and the fuel economy is actually better with the automatics per the manufacturer, if that makes any difference to you at all.
That doesn't matter. I would prefer to drive a manual, and
Sure. Yeah, it's about 10% of sales, so they're really rare, but you can find them.
Yeah, they're out there.
What are those Nissans run?
Well, I don't know that I've ever seen the Nissan with the manual, so I think you've got to do the Toyota.
I know the Nissan.
Cost-wise, you mean? Last my test drove was in the 30s.
And that's totally loaded, low 30s?
No, this one wasn't loaded. I drove a pretty basic Frontier, and it was around 35-ish. Come with a stick?
I don't think there's no market for it. So, except for a few of us diehards who like to shift. So your Toyota is your vehicle to get, and you can do a fairly basic one. There won't be many out there for high 20s. You can do a fully loaded TRD Sport or TRD Off-Road for about 32.
And by the way, Randy Hunt from Toyota will be with us in a couple of weeks. If there's anything specific you'd like to ask him, chime in about 2 weeks, and he'll be here right from Toyota to talk about some of that.
Okay.
You're very welcome. Appreciate the phone call. Let's take one more call, and we got to get out of here. Let's go to George real quick. George, you got about a minute left. What can we do for you?
All right. Hey, well, let me throw real quick for that last caller. You can get a Nissan Frontier Pro 4X, which is their photo drive package for around 34. There's a bunch of them in town right now.
Right.
I just want to throw a comment on car design. What is with Ford cheapening Aston Martin by basically pulling the Aston Martin design now and putting it on everything else? The new 2015 Mustang back in now, starting to reassemble.
Isaac, I'm going to drop you off. Isaac will answer that, and that'll be it for the day. Go ahead, Isaac.
It's the same designer, and Ford no longer owns Aston Martin, so they don't care about Aston Martin. They sold Aston Martin in 2007, and so now they're going to take all the design cues they can, because wouldn't you rather sell Fords if you own Ford?
Yeah. Exactly. Great answer. All right, guys. With that, we got to get out of here. Isaac Bouchard, our broker. Give me your phone number real quick, Isaac.
303-475-1462.
Kurt Anderson, give me your phone number.
303-278-8766.
And John from Geno's, what's your guys' number?
303-794-6700.
And I am John Rush from Drive Radio. You can get a hold of me every week right here on the radio, 10 a.m., 1 p.m., or send us an email, john@drive-radio.com. Find our YouTube channel, Drive Radio, all one word, or our website, Drive-Radio. With that, we'll be out of here. Again, Scott Watley is up next. Don't go away, Sportsmen of Colorado. And I will be back on Monday, 2 p.m., Rush to Reason. Appreciate you guys listening. God bless. Have a great weekend. We're out of here. Take care.
Cause when you stand so there